Hello, hello, my little duckies. Welcome to the kitchen. I hope I'm coming in all clear, crisp, with all the quality that I hope and pray for. Hello, everyone. I'm so excited. Yes, welcome to the kitchen. Welcome to my kitchen. So, oh wait, that is something that. Before the stream started, I actually had a specific overlay that I wanted to implement, but because of the web camera that I'm using right now, hopefully I can remedy this in the future. But, oh, thank you very much, Huntress. Yes! I'm so happy. I'm so happy. You have no idea how ecstatic I was when I was testing all this out just a couple of minutes before all this. But I got some great, exciting news. So I got these lav microphone, I got 2 of them. So that I can really kind of go anywhere and the quality is not going to change at all, which I'm very, very happy and excited about. So, and then I got a couple other little accoutrements that should be arriving actually via Amazon. So with this specific camera, it'll probably be like a one and done kind of a deal. But in the future, you'll be able to see a lot better quality and even more of my kitchen. Because one thing I at least wanted to share with you, and Lily, who is in the chat, will probably get a good kick out of this. If you just pan up, just ever so slightly, you'll see a little something familiar. Right up here. And that stays in the kitchen. Oh, whoops, cutting my own head off. Let's try that again. And that stays in the kitchen, which is very near and dear and special to my heart. So, and it always reminds me to just keep trying and keep making bread. So what we've got on today's agenda, folks, is something that actually kind of what launched this whole thing and this whole idea. And when I first moved out, I think I was talking about it all too briefly on my first stream, where when I first moved out on my own, I wanted to basically optimize just not only my expenditures, but also just challenge myself with new endeavors. And so cooking was one of them. But my aunt, who I mentioned before, represent Hickory Ranch, she shared her sourdough starter with me, and it asked, "Hey Jordan, have you ever thought about maybe taking up bread making?" I'm like, "Well, not really. My cooking limitations they still were very, very minimal at the time." And so she's like, "Well, it's very easy to get started. I can send you all the stuff and all the accoutrement and all the info that you'll need in order to kind of get started." And sure enough, she gave me a bit of her starter and kind of took off from there. So now it's one of the things that I get to look forward to whenever, especially nowadays, I know we're kind of getting towards the end-ish of winter, or not really, but ender towards the colder winter weathers. But it's a perfect excuse to, especially when the house is a little drafty, and especially us Californians, we're facing fierce winds as of late. I'm not sure if you guys have heard at all, but oh my gosh! Wait, sorry. VZ, welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for the raid. Welcome, everyone. Yes, we are streaming live from my kitchen. Thank you guys so much for the raid, and I hope you guys will stick around. Yeah, so we're going to be getting into some sourdough bread making today, and I was just kind of telling everyone about the story behind all that. But anyways, it's something that I've deeply fallen in love with, and there's a whole science behind it. Even myself, I'm not too sure on. I'm still learning and growing about these things, but yes. Thank you guys so much for the love and support and for sticking around. It's been just nonstop excitement so far. Well, yeah, let me go ahead. Oh my goodness, Tim the Enchanter, thank you for the follow. I know this guy. I know this guy. Huntress, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry I missed your raid. Sorry, I got caught up in explaining stories and just yapping in general. Thank you for the raid. Thank you. Welcome, guys. Crystal, thank you for the follow. Dino, thank you for the follow. Azure, thank you for the follow. And Ashley, thank you so much for the follow. You guys are incredible. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh my goodness. I'm already just getting so jazzed up and excited for what we're going to tackle. So before we do get into things, for those of you who are interested in wanting to take up this endeavor of sourdough making, you're going to need a couple things. And I'll do this. When the stream ends today and I upload this to my YouTube channel, I'll leave a link for that. But whatever I use in today's stream, I'll go ahead and leave like a grocery list of things that you guys can buy, and also any and all information that will be useful for like kind of understanding the science, the recipes, and all that good jazz in the description box for when I upload this to my YouTube channel. But for now, one thing I did want to share with you guys is you're going to need a couple of these. So when you do get a sourdough starter going, there's recipes on how you can get at least that started, but you're going to want these. Like it's preferred that you get, these are called weck jars. And what they're designed specifically for fermentation and for allowing things to breathe when you put in there, because that's the whole point and purpose of sourdough making, and why actually it's the most healthy bread that you can consume from just from a dietary standpoint. Because when things ferment, they break down and they release gases. So what's cool about the weck jars is just how they're designed, and also with the lid, the gases are able to escape. There's some things where like I got like little clamps up there in my cupboard that allow you to basically make this a tight seal. You don't really want to do that. Some bread makers out there basically say, yeah, you can do that, but you want things to burp. You want the gases to escape, and so that's the whole purpose. So there's these two. So you want to get that first and foremost. And then you'll want, whenever you do make a starter, you'll want to keep the same consistency of whatever types of flour that you use. So for me personally, and the starter that I have, it was used with King Arthur's bread flour. You'll notice it when you go to the grocery store, where it's going to be in a paper bag, blue label, and then also there's going to be a golden crown at the center of it. So King Arthur, but there's also Red Baron. There's a couple other flours out there that people use with, and also they even add other elements to it. Ooh, one more thing I forgot. I'm going to go ahead and turn that on for some extra light, and that on as well, just so we have a little more illumination. Yes, King Arthur is fantastic. That's what I use. So I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page here. Perfect. Excellent. So whenever you do have your starter, you have to consistently feed it. Now, there are ways that you can basically bypass that. And what you can typically do is after you feed it, you can either just stick it in the fridge, or if you're not planning on making anything in that given time. Now, actually, I should probably rewind and back up for a minute. What I mean by feed your starter, the starter is constantly like fermenting and breaking down. So the germination process is it constantly needs food, just like when you use yeast. It's eating up the flour, which causes it to rise. But the starter is basically what the yeast, it's like poor man's yeast is the best way I can describe it. So you have to constantly feed it. It's not like a dry yeast that you can just put in something wet and then it'll expand. It's something you kind of have to constantly feed with the flour. And the ratio of that is you want equal parts starter, equal parts flour, equal parts water. So let me go ahead and demonstrate real quick. I got my previous batch of starter right here, and we're going to go ahead and do it. And whenever you do actually make more starter, you want to use a different weck jar than what you started. So let me actually go ahead and go back and grab this real quick. And the next item that you guys are going to want when it comes to this, because you're going to be measuring out equal parts, and we're going to be measuring in grams today. So on the grocery list, you'll definitely want a food scale. Now, this food scale has been with me for a bit, but also what's interesting about it is it's a bit finicky. So it's sometimes doesn't behave the way I want it to. But, you know, that's just all the fun with cooking when it comes to things like this, is that whether you're on a budget or whether you're just trying to make ends meet, it just limitation is the inspiration of creativity, I feel like. And that's also in any creative endeavor, like film or TV or otherwise, but I digress. All right, cool. Just wanted to make sure that I was all caught up with all your guys' amazing conversations. Let me see here. Yeah, let me go ahead and just turn this bad boy on. We do not want kilograms. We do not want ounces. No, we want the grams. Now then, what I typically like doing is I like measuring things out. So I like getting like little cups here and there and stuff like that to basically measure out. So, and also chefs do this in any sort of like cooking show or what have you. They have all of their ingredients kind of measured out in like little containers and stuff like that, just so it's a lot easier to kind of just throw things in when it comes time to basically start baking. I actually did not do that. I should have done that in the beginning. But I just at least wanted to take the time to do that with you guys because I didn't know how this was going to turn out. But let's go ahead and start at least with the flour. So we'll put that there. So what's cool about food scales is you need to set it to tare because this, it has its own weight. And right now, if I just put that on the scale, that's 3 grams, this little container. So you want to set it to tare. So basically you're going to find tare on any food scale. You're going to hit it, it's going to zero out, and basically it's going to compensate for the weight and basically mark it as 0. So whatever you add into it, it's not going to factor in the actual weight of the vessel that it's holding the ingredient. And so after that, I'm going to go ahead and get my bread flour, which is right here, the King Arthur's bread flour. And then ever so delicately, ever so gently, we're going to measure out 50 grams of flour. And usually what the ratio is, or the recipe is when it comes to sourdough starter, like you can vary it up a little bit, but as long as the measurements are the same, I typically like doing the triple 50 method. So 50 grams of flour, 50 grams of starter, 50 grams of water, essentially. So I'm measuring out 50 grams of flour. And then we've shared, oh, excellent. That is 50 grams of flour. Next, we're gonna go ahead and measure out 50 grams of water. I'll go ahead and set that to tare. That is now set to 0. I filled this up with some fresh purified water. We'll go ahead and measure this out. Now, water is a little more dense than flour, so you have to be careful with the measurements there. Okay, 47, 48, we're getting there. And after that, it's just basically simply all a matter of patience. 49, teetering on 50, maybe a little drop ought to do it. Perfect. Excellent. I actually might make myself some tea in a minute here. The wind is causing the house to be a little more cold than I'd like it to be. But, you know, when it comes to, I prefer to be cold rather than hot because like there's not much you can do with hot. Just throw on another jacket and you're good to go. Next, we'll go ahead and do the starter. And let me go ahead and get a little assistance here. I usually like to give my starter a little stir before I actually start measuring it out. Oh, excellent. Let me go ahead and catch up real quick with who's in the chat and who's listening at this point. Pixel, thank you very much for the follow. Thank you. Otter, thank you. I love your name, by the way. Thank you so much for the follow and welcome to the stream. Excellent. So that's basically what the starter looks like. It almost looks like just a white paste, essentially. And this is kind of the consistency that you're going to be working with, essentially. So let's go ahead, set this bad boy to tare. Set it to tare. This is what I was referring to when I was talking about the finickiness. Finally, yes, now we get to 0 grams. And we'll just go ahead and measure out 50 grams of starter. Now this is where it needs to be a little more on the cautious side because your starter can be a bit viscous, a bit thick. So if you're not careful with the pouring methods, I'm being a little more cautious than necessary just for the sake of visual aid and entertainment. Whoa, my goodness, we're getting dangerously close to the limit there. Whoop! Dash it all. Oh well. No big deal. We'll just go ahead and simply take some of that, take some of the starter out. Very good, very good. Boo-boo-boo. Yep, that's about right. Excellent. And then we can go ahead and set this aside. And then put that there. Ooh, wonderful. Sticky hands. Love it. One of the things you got to get used to when it comes to any sort of cooking endeavor is washing your hands often, because especially when you're dealing with raw proteins like chickens and steaks and fish and stuff like that, it definitely can get a bit messy, to say the least. Wash your hands. Roll for initiative. Oh, dadgum. If this is who I think it is, bless you. Appreciate you. All right, cool. So I usually like to start with the water first. So starter, water, water, flour, starter. Long ago, the three nations of the bread empire lived in harmony, but everything changed when the egg nation attacked. And then basically you're just gonna stir to combine. Now, as you can see, it can get a little clumpy. We wanna get all the clumps out. And as you keep on stirring, it's just gonna become more and more and more homogeneously combined. And then once it is combined, what you typically wanna do, what have I done with it? Oh yeah, next thing you're gonna want is a rubber band, because after this is completely combined and all whisked together, you're gonna leave this alone in somewhere that's at least room temperature. In colder weather, it's gonna take longer, but the fermentation process starts. So with the flour, the water, and the starter combined, what's gonna happen is this is gonna start rising. And when the peak moment to basically use your starter for when is when it's doubled in size. So you don't have to use a rubber band. Typically people and sourdough makers that I know just use them because it's just a lot easier to take on and take off. But what you can do is, like for a poor man's method, you can just get some Scotch tape, measure for when the starter rests essentially, and just keep your eye on that for the next couple of hours until it just doubles in size. I usually just, when I first started out actually, I didn't really, this is embarrassing to admit, I don't have a ton of things to my name, but what I would do is I would just kind of think of like little life hacks here and there, but like, okay, I don't have rubber bands on me at the moment, but what do I have? So I just used Scotch tape and a Sharpie essentially to just mark where I needed to mark. Put that in there, and then, yep, that's all whisked together. And what I typically like to do is I just kind of like to scrape the sides of it to make sure it's all resting on the same level. There we go. Oh, fantastic. Oh, forgive me, I'm going to butcher your name, but Siedre, oh my gosh. Thank you for the follow. Thank you so much for the follow. When you're trying to attempt something and then you realize, nope, there's no way I'm not going to not butcher this. So hopefully my attempt wasn't more than enough to voice my appreciation of the follow. So thank you. Let me go ahead and actually, yeah, I'm going to toss that real quick. Very good. And then you're going to go ahead and put a rubber band on your wick jar, just like so. And you want to measure it up the same level as the starter right here. Just went from Scottish to Irish in a matter of seconds there. I think Tilo's rubbing off on me. For those of you who are tuning into the Ghost of a Tale stream, you guys know what I'm talking about. I feel like the voice I chose for Tilo is just more or less a Hobbit voice, either Merry or Pippin. That's actually kind of where I started like doing accents, is just like quoting movies and actors and all that good jazz. Tilo would totally love bread. Cheese! So once that's done, you're going to set that aside for the next couple of hours and just kind of keep an eye on it. At room temperature in the summertime, it goes a lot faster, anywhere between like 4 to 6 hours. This should double in size. But in the wintertime, it will take longer because the cold will affect it and basically cause the germination process to slow down. Because again, what's in here is it's alive, it's active. That's basically how yeast operates. And but once it is doubled in size, you're basically ready to use your starter for actual sourdough bread making. Luckily, I thought ahead. So I fed this actually before we even started. So the line was below the purple rubber band, and it's a little hard to make out. But essentially, this is ready to go, and we are ready to start making bread right off the bat. So I planned a little bit in the future, which aided me and also aided you guys. So we're not just standing around just waiting for this thing to double in size. So next thing we're going to do, guys, is actually make the sourdough bread, which I'm very, very excited about. So today's recipe comes from, I can't remember the source, but I remember the website. I'll send all the details in the description box when I upload this to YouTube. But for now, this is basically what we're gonna be working with. 375 grams of water, 50 to 100 grams of starter. It's not a particular science, but you can have a little wiggle room there. And then 11 grams of kosher salt, and then 500 grams of bread flour. Again, you want to stick with the same bread flour that you use to make your starter. Let's see. Ace Paladin, thank you so much for the follow. Esteba 16, thank you so much for the follow. You guys are incredible. Thank you. My gosh, that always just puts a smile on my face. Just seeing new people come and say hi. And so thank you guys so much for all the love and support. Let's go ahead and move on to the next segment. So next couple of items, at least, that I like to work with, and also for those of you who are interested, you'll want to get yourself some bowls, just basically a lot of essential things that you kind of pick up anywhere. And so we'll go ahead and start with the water, 375 grams of water. Now I'm speaking in German for whatever reason, but anyways. Okay, so that is 477 grams by itself. We'll set to tear. Very good. Das ist gut, nein? And then we'll go ahead and measure out 375 grams of water. Very good, by the way. Oh, by the by, guys, I set the background song. It's a playlist, essentially. Just let me know if it becomes annoying. I can always just mute it, so. Let's see here. Whoop, getting close to the limit there. Say, come on for hoop, guys. Come on for hoop, guys. Everybody to the limit. The cheek is to the limit. Come on, everybody, hoop, guys. Perfect. 375 grams of water right there. We'll go ahead and set that off to the side. Put this back on here. In the meantime, I'm going to use the rest of this water. I'm going to make myself some tea. There we go. That should be ripping and roaring to go in just a second here. I'm going to use this to hold the bread flour. Set that to tare. And we're going to use this bad boy to mix it all together. So, and also planning a little bit of ahead. When it comes to your guys' shopping list, if you guys want to start doing this for yourself, you'll definitely want to get one of these. So this is basically a food container where it measures in a 4-liter bucket, essentially. And the reason why you want this, and this looks like a shower cap. It's not, but basically it's like a food covering. You can get this at any grocery mark or anything like that. But what you end up doing is once you mix this all together, basically the sourdough itself, you're going to want to put this in here. And after what's called the stretch and fold process, you're going to want to cap this. Because again, with the fermentation process, you want the gases to stay in there, but also leave some room for expand. So say, for example, if it was at 1 liter right here, it's going to double in size, or at the very least, it's going to at least rise to the point, at least over a span of 6 to 8 hours. If you're planning on making sourdough, it takes a while. So you definitely want to clear your schedule if you ever want to make fresh homemade sourdough bread. So just some more things to keep in mind for the future when if you guys do decide to pick this up yourself. And also, this is something that I like to use. My aunt actually gave this to me. This is basically a bread whisk, and it's meant specifically for baking endeavors. If you have an actual electric mixer, it just basically does this whole thing for you. But if you're going old school and decide to get down and dirty with it, you'll definitely want one of these. But, you know, you can use a spatula or anything like that. Anything to, like, just stir it up. But I like using this just because, just of the design. And also makes me feel like a wizard in some way. The bread wizard. There's Wizard's Ale and there's Wizard's Bread. Ah, Starlit, thank you for the raid. Oh, dadgum. There's 89 of you. Bless my soul. Welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome. And also welcome to my kitchen. We are getting into some sourdough bread making today, and I hope you guys will stick around. Thank you guys so much for the love and support. And let me actually go ahead and make sure that I'm catching up with who has followed and who has decided to stop by and say hello. 046. Thank you so much for coming by, and thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. Ooh, Wolfblood and Mr. Half. Danka, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you for the follows. Now, where was I? Ah, yes, of course. Let me go ahead and set this to tare. Excellent. And now I shall go ahead and start. You know what? Let's just do this. It's 500 grams, so I'm just going to go ahead and start. Whoop! Not that high. Not that high. You don't want bread flour everywhere. As fun as this, we don't want to intentionally make messes for ourselves, because then we have to clean it up later. Well, I have to. You guys don't have to. So you're welcome. Very good. We're getting there. Again, flour is a rather light substance, so it takes a while for it to climb up to where it needs to, especially if you're getting into the higher register of measurement of grams. Woo! There we are. 496, 497. Oh, too much. Let's go ahead and give a half scoop out. Perfect. Poif just poif, as my sister would always say. How's that looking? Perfect. We're nearly up to temp on that. Very good. I'll put that to the side. Bien, bien, bien. Let's see here. Ava Girl, thank you for the follow. And it's good to see you again. Thanks for stopping by. Scar of the Sea, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the follow. You're amazing. Silver Sword, thank you for the follow. Sorry I missed you. I was not going to leave you behind. Very, very good. All right, now that we have all of our raw ingredients measured out, we're gonna go ahead and measure thusly. That's what we need first, actually. I completely forgot about that, because I forgot to measure out the starter. So what you want to do is you want to take your big mixer, essentially, or your big bowl right here. Well, first we want to turn on the actual food scale again, because for whatever reason it turned off. Because it decided to be finicky with me. But life's a little more interesting when things don't go always according to plan, don't they? Let me see here. It has a bad habit of turning off when I want it to stay on. Okay, come on. Oh no! That looked important. Okay, come on. I think my tea will be done by the time this thing decides to behave properly. There we go. Grams, we're back to the grams. So we'll put that back on. And then first what we want to do is we want to pour into the water. I measured out water, very good. I'll put this aside, let that dry. And we're nearly ready for our tea. Just a second here. I'll go ahead and set that to tare. Set that to tare. And I'll go ahead and remove this recipe text, just so you guys can see the majority of the kitchen again. Okay, that's set to tare, and we are golden. Nice and hot. There we are. Nothing like a hot cup of tea on a cold day, a cold, windy day. I'm sticking with an herbal tea today. It's a nice peppermint. for the voice and also for just the vibes. That's how to do it. I'll set this aside for now and just let that brew. Now that we are set to tear, let's go ahead and add our starter. Start things off. So again, we want 50 to 100 grams. So even if I go a little overboard, it's fine as long as it measures within the 50 to 100 grams of starter. So we'll go ahead and do this. And also what's cool about this is as you stir it, you can tell that it's been doing its thing because it almost kind of looks like it's turning into spider webs. That's the cool thing about like the fermentation process when it comes to sourdough, because the bubbles expand, but because it's almost in this like very viscous, like clump is the best way I can describe it. It makes for a really cool visual. So we'll go ahead and measure out 50 grams, anywhere between 50 to 100. Doesn't have to be perfect. We all make mistakes. Now there are no mistakes, just happy little incidences. A little more, why not? Feeling bold today. Excellent. And now, once what is left here, normally this would be considered your discard, and you can do anything with it where you could store it for later, or you can basically just kind of give it a toss. I personally don't like throwing things away unnecessarily. So what I like to do is I just basically like to have this take a little nappy poo in the fridge until I'm ready to use it later. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. And take this, put that cap back on, put this in the fridge. Very good. Now this is irrelevant. And there's my thing. Now we don't need the food scale anymore, so we can put this aside, which is great. Less instruments clutter my countertop, the better, you know? And next, we're gonna go ahead and add in 11 grams of salt, right in there. Give that a quick little stir. You don't want too much of that. You know what? Let me actually go ahead and do this real quick, just so you guys can see a little better what I'm doing. I'm just gonna go ahead and angle this down. I know it's gonna cut my head off, but I at least want you guys to see this just for the sake of visual aid. Next, we're gonna go ahead and take our flour. I'm gonna move this closer just so you guys can see. And then as we're gonna add in the flour, we're gonna just whisk gently and slowly, essentially. Now, this is gonna be more or less kind of like, not necessarily the unglamorous side of things, but essentially, as you're whisking to combine all these elements and all these recipes, you're gonna start noticing already, it's gonna start clumping up. And what's happening in real time, and this is actually just normal of all bread making endeavors, where you kind of want it to like a sticky enough, or like a dense and sticky enough state and substance where you can handle it, but also where it's not going to basically just become compromised right off the bat. So as you can already see, it's already starting to come together. And this is where like a bread whisk like this really starts coming in handy. And just like there's a point in time when I'm doing something physical or doing something with my hands that my brain just kind of turns off. And so words become a challenge for me. But essentially what you want to do is just keep on whisking and then try and get everything on the sides as well into one big doughy ball, essentially. Just like so. And in the meantime, let me go ahead and get caught up on who's following. Sweet darling Veritas, thank you so much for the follow. Bless you so much. And then TA's, no, hold on. TCIE, good heavens. I can't read these days. Thank you so much for the follow. Apparently I can't read, and that's okay. Some people can't read, some people can't do math, and then some people can't do both, like myself. Very good. And then what I like to do is kind of give this little flip-a-doodle and then incorporate every single aspect of the flour into it, and that should be good. Just a bit more, methinks. Wait, one second. I hope you guys have been enjoying the time so far, and I hope that I haven't been too boring. Makes me curious to it. Oh, when I went to school, my favorite subject, I want to say, was probably history. Like in every other, like I had to learn to appreciate the like math and science, because when you're not naturally good at something, you just kind of have like an open disdain for it. So, but eventually I did enjoy, like, I enjoyed math. Well, I guess in the hierarchy of things, I would rank history as my favorite subject, and then right below that was English. Because as an actor, what I really fell in love with was learning about poetry, learning about plays and Shakespeare. So, like, surprise, surprise, right? Oh, the actor was obsessed with Shakespeare. Oh, wow. So, yeah, history, English, and honestly, actually, I had a very good friend of mine help me with the sciences. So chemistry was actually near and dear to my heart. And so I enjoy the topic of chemistry, but everything that I've learned has just kind of like gone out the window. But there are little things here and there that I actually remember. And so, yeah, so probably those three. Math, again, probably lowest on the tier list, but you know, that was once upon a time ago. But of course, like, it goes without saying that art and theater, and then especially when I got into high school, I discovered choir and a whole bunch and a couple other little things like that. Sorry, I was fighting a burp there. I don't know why my voice changed. Math is evil. Preach it, yeah. Egg bread. Sadly, you don't need eggs in this recipe. When it comes to eggs and incorporating bread into them, unless you're like making a dessert or making something particularly flaky, you don't really need, as I'm using my hands basically. What am I, Italian? But yeah, you got an egg right here. Yeah, I did. I was a base in berry. Let's see, and also, Naktria, thank you so much for the follow. Apologies if I butchered your name. I'm not on my best right now when it comes to reading and also doing the shout outs for the names. But now but yes, so to answer your question, I was a bass and barry. I was in jazz and concert choir. Jazz was the highest level of choir that you could get, but I kind of feel like it's because I was a guy, like my teacher was just kind of desperate for people, so I could never really truly know if I legitimately had talent. Like, I enjoy singing. I kind of, when it comes to singing, I don't particularly like the sound of my own voice. I love doing karaoke and other stuff like that. But I remember clear as day that I kind of had to learn to harmonize, and I struggled, man. And but concert, when you're like in a big group like that, it's a little easier to kind of like fudge it and kind of fake it till you make it. But jazz, like, there was such a high expectation of being able to stay on pitch, stay on key. And I remember, like, the first time I tried harmonizing, I thought I was on key, and I wasn't. I had, like, my friend at the time, he was, like, singing his heart out and going, like, yeah, and then he just, like, he hears me sing, he's like, wait a minute, something's wrong. And he's, like, still singing, like, on key. So you can imagine what that did to my ego and my so anyways, kind of to get back on the topic at hand. So once this is all not emulsified, but once this is all brought together, and let me quickly do this shout out. Do you like pineapple on pizza? Thank you so much for the follow. Actually, I do. As blasphemous as that sounds, I just like food. So that's my take on it. You should absolutely do a karaoke stream. Okay, I'll take that into consideration. Heck yeah. I don't know how I would do that, but sure. Knowing is half the battle. I shall do homework and research. So once this is all whisked together, and once it's all combined, you're going to want to basically transfer this to the bucket. Slowly and surely. And now we are fresh. It is true, anyone can cook. But only the fearless can be great. Oh, Ratatouille. It's been a minute since I've seen that movie. It's such a good film. Very good. Excellent. Now then, now that that has been combined, it is ready for the next step, which is the stretch and fold process. Let me go ahead and actually just get as much of this off, and then I'll go ahead and transfer this to the sink. Doodly-doo-dee-doo. I'll let that run for a minute. I think my tea should be done at this point. Yeah, a little tea break, if we will. Yep, that's good. Very good. Put this aside for now. Add a little bit of honey to my tea. There we go. Poif, just poif. Yummy! I don't know why, but I'm really fighting the urge since this is peppermint tea. So I just bust into some Christmas songs, but Christmas has come and gone. Tea intermission. Ooh, that sounds delicious. Apple cider chai tea. I'm gonna have to keep an eye out for that if that's on the shelves these days. Cheers, y'all. My little duckies. That's good. I've got my Mando mug today, given to me by my older brother. An excellent Christmas present, to say the least. That is good. That is lovely. I'll turn that off. So now, this comes the stretch and fold process. So once your dough has been combined, you're gonna wanna let this rise. So it's gonna be in half-hour intervals. So every 30 minutes, you're gonna do 4 stretch and folds. So what that looks like essentially is, actually I'm gonna do this right here. Nope, that's hot. I'm gonna use this instead. You're gonna want a bit of water on the side for when you handle your dough. So let me go ahead and put this away real quick. So what you're going to be doing is, well, let me actually go ahead and put the shower cap on here real quick. And then go ahead and set a timer, actually, for the next half hour. And of course, we'll do some things in the middle before that time expires. So let me see, 3:00. So that's set for 30 minutes. And I like to actually keep a little digital notepad handy just so I can keep track of all my stretch and folds. So what you do is when your first stretch and fold happens, you're gonna wanna wet your hands before you're handling the dough. Not so much to the point where it's just dripping, like just wet enough so you can handle it. Because if you were to handle this by itself, it would just stick everywhere. So this kind of is like an anti-sticking, like the water essentially. And I like to use, you don't have to, but just so there's less like impurities or minerals like in your dough, I just like to stick with purified water, as you just saw before. So I wet my hands, and then you're gonna get in there and then basically stretch and fold and turn the bucket at the same time. And what this does is this further activates the starter and the yeast to allow the bread to rise and double in size. So let me actually go ahead and, oh, what the ham hock and Guitar Nation is going on here? My digital notepad is failing on me. Okay, come on. Something has gone horribly awry. You can use flour, but you want to use flour and wait to the end of this. For the stretch and fold, like for normal bread making endeavors, you absolutely could use bread flour. But for this, because it's like sourdough specifically, you want to use water, and just again, not a ton of it, but hey, Bun, I see you. I see you. Oil here's the thing. With oil, like there's going to be, the way it behaves is because it's a lot more viscous than water, and it's going to have a hard time like being I'm trying to find the right words for it. And but if you were to use oil for this, basically what it kind of turns, it clumps it into a ball and almost kind of acts as like a seal, if that makes sense. The water is, because there's already water in this and it's basically kind of the same properties, you can kind of get away with it, but at the same time, you don't want your hands dripping because you don't want extra water in your dough, because then mixture is going to be off. Just enough so you can handle it and it doesn't stick to your hands. It still will kind of stick to your hands, but just kind of have this on standby just so that it's a lot less of a hassle. Let me see. I want a little more of my tea. And I'll put that there actually, because I got both tea and water at the same time. Oh yeah, my goodness, I completely forgot about this. I need to put this in the fridge. Wait a minute. I'm so confused right now. What did I... Okay, now I'm really confused. I don't know why, but like, was this my previous starter that I used? And then did I use something different? Maybe I did. Oh well. I got more starter apparently than I originally intended, which isn't the end of the world, but let me actually do this real quick. All right, cool. So while that's going, we're gonna do this because the first stretch and fold process has not happened yet. So, and for whatever reason, my digital notepad, it just doesn't want to cooperate with me. But anyways, we're on the first one anyway, and it hasn't even been a half hour yet. So let me just go ahead and hang on. Hang on. Stand by, folks. Just want to catch up on a couple things real quick. Doodly doot doots. Okay, cool. Ah, lovely. Okay, cool. That's fine. Just kind of catching up with the rest of the chat here. Matcha, thank you so much for the follow. Aston, thank you so much for the follow. Candied Walnut, thank you so much for the follow. Salty Bread and wait on, Salty Bread. Salty Bread, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate you. So now that being said, we're gonna do this because actually part of my preparations was I basically already made like a dough that's ready to go. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna turn our oven on right now. And before we do that, actually, another little grocery item list that you guys can add on to your shopping list, essentially, is you're gonna wanna need a Dutch oven. This is mine. It's a bit over gratuitous. I got this originally for camping purposes, but have you guys ever been in that situation where you get something with the hopes of doing something, like specifically with your friends, and then when it comes time to like coordinate for that, no one wants to do it anymore? So I got this specifically for my family, because I think one of my family members had made some sort of remark of like, hey, let's go camping. Like, you know, we haven't done that in a long time. And we are all just really super jazzed about that. And we're all assumingly in agreement. And so I was like doing research of like roughing it. And so I got this cast iron Dutch oven so we could basically kind of rough it more and just figure it out essentially. But when it came time to actually plan for the camping trip, surprise, surprise, no one's interested after all. But anyways, so this is my Dutch oven. There's others online that are a lot more accommodating and not nearly as I'm trying to find the right eloquent word for this, but beefy, I guess, for the lack of a better term. But anyways, let's go ahead and turn the camera on. We're gonna want to set our ovens to 450 degrees. And so let's go ahead and do that actually. Whoop. All right, cool. That is now preheating, which is awesome. And in the meantime, actually, this is something I need to do. I'll go ahead and put this in the oven already. Because you want your Dutch oven to be the same temperature as your oven. So as that's coming to temp, the heat from the oven is going to basically bring your Dutch oven up to temp. So, and that's also why you'll need a pair of gloves, some oven mitts to keep your mitts protected. Tea break. Yeah, bare hands is the way to do it. If you start screaming, you're just a sissy. So what I want to do is basically, I'm going to set this aside here for a minute. I want to fully do this out with you guys, so you kind of have just like a visual aid of what to expect. And because what's kind of the annoying thing about this is once you do complete the stretch and fold process, which over the course of time, realistically, it's going to take about 4 hours. So a half hour, no, 2 hours altogether. Oh, good night. Have a good night, Vane. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you, thank you. So over the span of 4 stretch and fold processes, that's going to equal 2 hours with a half an hour interval in between. So the first 1.5 hours, second 1.5 hours, so on and so forth. So, but once you complete this last stretch and fold, you're going to want to let this leave so it can leave this alone at room temperature so it can double in size and rise for the next 6 to 8 hours. And again, depending on the temperature of your house or whatever season it is going to affect that process of the rising. So just try and keep an eye on it every so often. What I like to do is I try and leave this toward the end of the day, and I like to basically just go about my day and then just come back and then to see, okay, how's it looking? How's it looking? If it's anywhere between 6 to 8 hours and it's doubled or even risen, then that's a fair assumption that, okay, this is ready to go. And that's ready to start the next prepping process. So we'll set this over to the side just for now. And I think what we can probably do is this oven is getting up to temp is just maybe sharing a little bit about today's goings-ons and all that jazz. And also I want to get to know a little bit more about all of you. So as soon as that goes off and the oven is basically ripping and ready to go, we got some time to kill. So let's actually go ahead and do this. Just raise this up slightly, because I like to get on your guys' level, if I'm being perfectly honest. So if you don't mind my asking, folks, my precious little duckies, you guys enjoying yourselves? I hope you are. Is that coffee in the background? Yes, it is. These are my coffee grounds. So I actually have a Chemex not upstairs, but within this window, I have cupboards up here and all around. That's one of the reasons why I really like this kitchen and this setup. Is up here I have my Chemex that I like to make a nice hot fresh brew of coffee every so often if I want to go the extra mile and treat myself. I do have a Keurig over here in the corner if ever I'm just doing something quick and dirty. But yes, those are my coffee grounds. Look at them go. Let's see. Yeah, welcome. Feel free to just kind of take it easy. And thank you so much for joining, you guys. I've this has been just a really cool experience so far, and I feel like part of my golden retriever energy that I exude sometimes kind of gets the better of me, and it's okay to kind of like just chill for a minute. So, which is why I incorporated the set list and stuff like that, so you guys can just kind of chillax with me. I don't necessarily mean to go for like a Mr. Rogers vibe or anything like that, or something like too overtly like just, okay, I just want to turn my brain off and sleep or something like that. But yeah, the first stream, thank you guys so much for tuning in for that. Yeah, bread is delicious. Yeah, and let's see. Oh, you guys are so awesome. Let's see. Oh my goodness. Espresso machines are expensive. They're very expensive, but if you can get one, you've been blessed. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, thank you. You know, funny enough, streaming kind of like was an enigma to me. And actually, I have a best friend that I've known since elementary school. He actually, when I first started my voiceover career, he was the one who was like, "Hey, dude, why don't you start streaming?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not going to start streaming. That's ridiculous." And but he was kind of the one to kind of initiate that, and that was like nearly a decade or so ago when I was like still in my 20s. And so honestly, it's you know who you are. I'm not gonna out you, but if you're watching, thank you. You among many others had convinced me to start doing stuff like this, but I am gonna out him here. Because whenever he gets set on something, he wants to try a couple angles before like he kind of puts something to rest, which I very much respect him for. But he at one point he's like, "Hey dude, why instead of doing the streaming thing, why don't you set up an OnlyFans account?" I'm like, "Excuse you?" He's like, No, hear me out." I'm like, "You know what that implies, right?" It's like, he's like, No, trust me, man. And like, you should start an OnlyFans account. I'm like, you know, it's synonymous with just people doing corn on there, right? And he's like, "I'm well aware, but just hear me out. You could be the guy that turns that whole platform around. Like, you're wholesome, you're sweet, you know." And like, I might be putting words in his mouth, but like, but anywho, but he was basically kind of listing out all the reasons. He's like, "You could be the one to like basically make a new name for what OnlyFans is, man. Like, you'd be a trendsetter." And I'm like, "Stop, dude, stop." I didn't make an OF account, but I, you know, this is the next best thing. So, oh my word, yeah. Only bald. I would dominate the market. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like when I actually started losing my hair, and this was actually admittedly when I was in high school. I had really bad acne. And so I took a medication that was called Propecia, and that was specifically helped to battle against severe acne. And pros and cons. So it worked, but one of the side effects was severe hair loss, which is what I ended up having. And so when you start noticing you're starting to thin, especially in your high school years, definitely does not add to your self-esteem, and also just adds to your insecurities. So at one point, though, I want to say back probably in my mid-20s. Hang on, 2 seconds. No, don't feel bad. Like, it's just something that you embrace now. And honestly, like, nothing's guaranteed. You don't really keep everything. Nothing lasts forever. And once you kind of accept that fact, it's when things kind of come and go in your life, you're able to kind of like part ways a lot easier. And honestly, I'm happy. I'm grateful that I'm bald. And also, it makes for the meme when you wear wigs. So that's basically how I ended up going as I transformed into the glorious egg you see before you. Oh, thank you guys so much. Thank you for the hugs. Let me see here. Let me actually scroll back up here because I think I'm a little behind on the shout. Wreath, thank you so much for the follow. Goat Cheese, thank you so much for the follow. V Straken and Chrome, thank you guys so much for the follows, and welcome to the stream. And let me see here. I want to make sure that I'm up to speed on the chat as well. Mandalorian mug? Heck yeah. Get that mug out of my face, Mando! Oh, Bill Burr, you fellow bald eagle. Big hugs. Oh, thank you guys so much. Yeah, and as I've gotten older, like, it seems weird to equate this to like hair loss or something like that. But once you kind of start recognizing in your life that you could lose like things in your life, things that that are very difficult to either get back or they're just gone forever. There's a bit of like a learning curve with that, where if you're cool with losing things, like I feel like that's what really kind of aids you in the grander scheme of things, but also allows you to be grateful for what you have. And I'm very much grateful for all of you. I'm grateful for the friends and family members that I have that have stuck by me and encouraged me. And also, it's just absolutely necessary to encourage one another in this life, because we're not meant to live it alone. So I know I might be getting a little sappy here. I'm not even sure how I segued into this, but anyways, it's great that we're all here. And let me let's see, Chrome, Where's Smile? Thank you so much. Moon Multi, thank you so much for the follow. You guys are awesome. Oh, that's good tea. Let me see where I'm at with the stretch and fold. And bless my soul, my oven still hasn't gotten to that point yet, but that's fine. What's the time? Oh, hello. Well, I got an audition. Hooray! I received an audition. Not that I booked something. That was the notification for it. And there's 11 minutes until we have our first stretch and fold process. Thank you. Appreciate that. Ooh. Fantastic. I'm trying to think ahead of time. You know what? I bet you the oven is probably almost ready to go. So let's go ahead and actually get what I have in the fridge. So a bit of context here. So when you finish the stretch and fold process and you allow your dough to rest and let it rise, the next step will basically be to form it into the sourdough ball that it needs to be in. And there's also vessels. I'll pull it out in just a second here, but you can use a normal bowl if you want, but they actually have specific bowls for the purpose of bread making. And it's basically like a basket, a glorified basket, because it allows the dough to breathe at the same time. You don't want something that's, you can, but you'll get a more optimal loaf if you actually have a basket and something that can breathe to some degree. So let me go ahead and get that real quick, and also a other accoutrement. So we'll grab this. We'll grab that. Nope, not this. There we go. Got my penguin plate. Admittedly enough, this is the only hard plate I have in my entire house, because when you're making for a party of one, there's not a whole lot of reason to get plates and things for any other reason. And finally, the pièce de résistance, our sourdough loaf, which is ready to go. Very good. So here's what you're going to do. This basket that I have here and this loaf that I have prepared has been sitting in the fridge for nearly 48 hours. The longer you tend to leave your sourdough in the fridge to let it ferment and also just proof, essentially, is you're going to get more richer of that sourdough taste. It only takes, I want to say, maybe 6 to 8 hours for you to basically for the loaf to be ready to be put into the oven. But the longer you do it, the more it's going to have that signature sourdough flavor. So this has been in here for the past 48 hours, which is awesome. And there's the oven, which is awesome. And then so this comes to my favorite part, which is the reveal. And also, oh my goodness, that looks great. That's fantastic. That's ready to go in the oven. So when you, and also if you look at this is basically the basket weave. So this is basically just woven together and allows the dough to breathe, essentially. And then what you do is this, essentially. So I'm going to do two things. Stretch this over. and I have my trusty scalpel, as I've used before. Hang on, let's do this. Very good. Set this aside for now. And then this is baking parchment paper, essentially. So you're gonna take the plate and take the parchment paper, give it a flippy-do, and put it on top of the basket. And then this is basically where you're gonna take the underside of the basket, give it a flip just like that. And then you're slowly but surely gonna release the loaf just like so. And doesn't that look awesome? Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Woo, I nearly lost it. Now we come to my favorite part, which is the scoring process. And what you can do as well, you don't need a scalpel. I just basically had these lying around. I bought them in bulk for preparation reasons. But that's a different story, and I won't get into that. But first two things. And this is ready to go, which is amazing. Now, I think some of you out there have seen, at least on my Twitter page, when I score things, I typically like going with like an X or a cross kind of a shape, and then you can add like little designs here and there. My signature go-to is, especially if you look in the corner up there in my kitchen, I do a nice cool little X, and then I add little like wheat or like plumage, like symbolism, whatever. But also it kind of like reminds me of ratio at the same time. So, but you can use anything from like a scalpel to like a razor blade. They actually have apparatuses that you can purchase where it holds the razor blade, and basically you can just go to town and do whatever you need to do. But for the sake of things, I'm going to go ahead and keep things simple and not really go too far off the beaten path and stick what I know best. So I'll go ahead and score that there. Score that on the opposite side. And also this makes me feel like a surgeon. That way I can sing Weird Al Yankovic's like a surgeon operating for the very first time. Like a surgeon. Like a surgeon. Very good. Very good. And we want it deep enough for when it's in the Dutch oven where it kind of plumes out, but because it's going to rise a lot, so that's why you kind of need like some sort of opening when you're scoring your bread loaf. And then for each like individual little section right here, I usually like coming in, doing a nice little leaf design or a wheat design. Also, it's pretty simple. Now with the designs, you can go crazy, but just make sure your cuts aren't super deep. You want them just surface level, because if it's any deeper, it's going to affect the, the expansion. And also it'll ruin your design if it's too deep. You want it just enough where it's going to show up. Very good. I want to put where's the cap? There's the cap. Just, woo! Without tipping it, just like so. I nearly lost my loaf. I would have been sad had I lost it. All right, now this bad boy's ready to go in the oven. Let me check the time for the first stretch and fold. Hopefully I still have time in order to, yeah, I got 4 minutes. We're good. So by the time this is actually all ready and set to go, hang on. This will be ready by the time we're finished with the first stretch and fold process. This will be ready to come out of the oven. And so there's a bit of a heads up here. So you want to cook your loaf in your Dutch oven at 450 degrees for 30 minutes, and then that's covered. And then you want to, after the 30 minutes have expired, you're going to bring the temperature of your oven down to 400 degrees. And it's very important that you do that because you want to basically take the covering off of it after the half hour has expired. And you're going to want this, you want to form like the crust of the bread. So it'll be a half hour covered at 450 and then uncovered 400 for 10 minutes. And then after that, we'll be able to take it out of the oven and let it rest and then just admire the beauty and then eat it afterwards. So that being said, let's go ahead and, yes, we're going to want to do that. I was thinking, like, can I do this? I forgot for a minute. I'm like, okay, what comes next? All righty. Woohoo! That's a hot one. All right, cool. We'll go ahead and grab this bad boy. You're going to grab it by the paper, by the way. And then you're going to want to set it in just like so. And also, my Dutch oven is inverted. So what you do is you just basically flip it up upside down and then cover it. Just like so. And now that that's covered completely, close that up. Just wait a half hour. Now I'm going to need another timer. Just set that. Let me see here. Very, very good. Fantastic. Half hour. Then, boop. Very good. And we're nearly reaching our time for the first stretch and fold process. So now that that is out of the way, we can remove this, put this with the rest of the dirty dishes to the northwest dirty dishes. Bring this over here. Put some of these things back. We don't need the parchment paper anymore. We'll put that away. We'll leave the gloves on the side over there. And then I'm going to put it in the place where it's just noticeable. Very good. Oh, hang on. Also Anna, thank you for the follow. I apologize that I missed you. Paladin Lap, Paladina Lap. Apologies about that. Thank you so much for the follow, and welcome to the stream. Arson. We will definitely get into more arson on Monday. Now let me see here. Just want to make sure I'm all up to speed with what you guys have been saying, because this is just so wonderful. Yeah, Monday arson! Monday arson! It's been a minute, but I forgot how fun that game is and just exploring that whole world is. That's good. All right, go ahead and take that off. I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need that. All right, perfect. Uh-oh. Oh, there it is. Very good. Awesome. So now for the first stretch and fold process. Without any further ado, again, you want just enough liquid on your hands so where you can handle the dough. So you're going to reach in basically and start messing with it. You're going to stretch and fold just like so. And if you need to get a little extra water in there, no shame in that whatsoever. But what you're doing is you're further activating the yeast that is in this dough, and that basically allows it. Maybe just a little hit more. Good. And then, as you're handling it, you're gonna feel it start to firm up on you, and that's exactly what we want. We want it dense enough where all the things that are happening, basically that's what you want, and it's gonna just get more and more dense at the more you handle it. And even then, like with that, you'll still get a little bit of something on you, but essentially that's what we're looking for. And that was the first stretch and fold process, and then another half hour we'll do another one. So we'll go ahead and set that. Very good. We'll set that aside. I'm gonna go and wash my hands real quick. Yeah, we're good. Very, very good. All right, cool. We'll leave that be for now. And now that that's already written and rolling to go, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and toss this, give this a toss, and let me go ahead and catch up with y'all. Let's see here. Rewind, thank you so much for the follow and welcome to the stream, the cooking stream as it was. Let me go ahead and actually, yeah. Rosie Freedom! Well, so honestly, sourdough is really good by itself, but you can't go wrong with, you know, good old-fashioned butter and anything else that you can kind of put on it. What I usually like to do is I like to coordinate. I like to have my sourdough accommodate whatever it is that I'm cooking. As some of you will know, I'm a big fan of soup. So I usually go with either stew or soup, and I add the bread to it. And admittedly, I'll make a whole loaf. And then there have been times where, without even really being mean, because trust me, I can eat. But there have been times where I haven't intended to eat the whole thing, but I've been there. I've definitely been there. It's like, I made this giant loaf and I just ate the whole thing. I should have like sparsed this out a little bit. But you know, everyone has their own cross to bear in this life, and apparently mine is gluttony, so. I appreciate that. Thank you, Maro. Yeah, sourdough's really good. Funny enough, actually, when I was a kid, granted, of course, I didn't know any better. You know, when you're young and ignorant of a lot, I didn't like sourdough because again, it was more sour, and I was like used to like the Wonder Bread and the sweeter things, which is kind of norm for a lot of kids where they just want sugar. They just want like, you know, the things that are, you know, like super sweet. And so I feel like sourdough has definitely become a thing that I appreciated more as I got older. And again, that's just part of the maturing process. So, oh yeah. Oh, yes, the creamy pesto dressing. Oh my gosh, it sounds so yummy right now. Oh, you never been? Oh, that, you know what? That does not surprise me. Hang on. What type of other name? Oh, well, what's cool about, I think what I want to start doing is, I don't know why you know what? I need to do this real quick, just so I'm not crouching all the time. There we go. Thank you for your patience on that. What I want to start doing, because I've actually started venturing outside of sourdough, there's a recipe that I want to try next. Well, two things. And this is applicable to everyone. You guys can make this. It's not going to take nearly as long as sourdough, but you make homemade sandwich bread. And let me actually go ahead and basically get, along with the ingredients, let me show you what you should invest in. Everyone at some point or other should have a sandwich tin. So this is a particular bread tin where it's made for like making like little sandwich loaves and stuff like this. I would highly recommend that you get one of these because we'll definitely need one of these for when we do tackle the sandwich bread. And I'll say this much, when you make sandwich bread on your own, I guarantee you, you're never gonna wanna get the store-bought stuff again. It's really yummy. So along with the bread tin, you'll want dry activated yeast, flour, all-purpose flour. And again, I just usually get King Arthur's. And also you'll want salt, either iodized or kosher salt, sugar, and of course just access to, you know, clean drinking water. My goodness. And you should be good to go. And it's really kind of minimal ingredients. The only thing that you really kind of need to factor in is just, you know, the proofing process where it rises. And I will share that in the not too distant future. And but let me actually go ahead and just share what the yeast that I typically rock. So this is Fleischmann's activated dry yeast. So you can get this at any supermarket store, and like that's basically kind of the ingredient that just you'll absolutely need, because again, it's not sourdough, so you'll just want a yeast to work with. Oh, it's this, and also I don't know if she's in the stream, but hang on, let me actually just read this real quick. But I got this recipe along with this card at Anime Impulse, and I very hopefully I'm not doing a faux pas here, but I felt like I wanted to tackle this recipe. But this is a recipe and also a really beautiful card that I got from a fan in at Anime Impulse, and she goes by the name of Catherine, Cal for short. And the worst part is that like she even put like all of her socials down there, and apologies, but I couldn't make it out. I couldn't read it, so it feels a little. I'm a little sad that I didn't get a chance to further connect with her. And I've tried, trust me, I've tried to like type in what I think is in here, and it just doesn't make any sense. So, but anyways, these are for matcha brownies, and I'm looking at the recipe, and I'm like, I would love to tackle something like this. So, along with the sentiment and the beautiful words that she had to say, I just wanted to say thank you, Cal, so much for the recipe. And with your blessing, I would like to share this recipe with all of you. So I've never made brownies before on my own from start to finish or from scratch, but I have all the ingredients. So I'm very, very excited to try and tackle that. So, but matcha brownies. So that sounds really yummy. But anyways, those are just a couple of things that I would like to tackle in the kitchen corner segment. Along with, of course, other things as well. I'd like to tackle like certain protein dishes, like whether it be steak or chicken or pork or what have you. Just things that I've kind of learned over the course of time, and kind of like some more like easier meals. Because since I've lived on my own, I've kind of had to be creative, and I've had to basically cut back on a couple of things. And also just kind of learning how much I really kind of spend on just like eating, like eating out specifically, because it's really allowed me to appreciate not only just those that prep in the restaurant business, but also that like I think we tend to sell our own self short, but also at the same time, we like our convenience. We like the fact that we can just basically go to a fast food place down the road and just go or to an In-N-Out and just get a burger. And it's I feel like it's an art as a culture that we've lost, is the art of cooking. So I at least that was on my heart when I decided to want to stream this particular segment with all of you guys, because I feel like I'm not the only one that feels like I kind of missed the boat on personal cooking endeavors. So I at least wanted to let you know that you guys aren't alone. If you've never cooked anything outside of a hard-boiled egg or what have you, just to let you know, like everyone starts somewhere, and I'm still learning stuff. I burn things every so often. I get recipes wrong, but part of the challenge of learning anything is just being consistent and just keep on trying at it. And before you know it, you'll be making like dishes in your home, and then also it's like such a humble brag, or maybe not so humble brag, that you're like, hey, I can cook for myself, I can cook for others. And it's such a beautiful gesture to be able to cook for others. And it's one of the things that I actually really enjoy the most about cooking, is cooking for others. And again, it really is a love language. Take it from the Greeks. Let me go ahead and just get myself up to speed with who is currently viewing. Lois, thank you so much for the follow. Tiger, thank you so much for the follow. Motorcycle Girl, thank you so much for the follow, and welcome to the stream. We are currently getting into the fun part, which is sourdough making. And also, guys, when we get the loaf out of the oven, I might go, or I might need a short break. And I think that'll probably be around 4 o'clock my time, or Pacific Standard Time. Let's see here, yeah. Oh, yes, of course. Honestly, steak is pretty easy once you kind of understand. Like it's really hard to like mess up steak once you kind of understand that it really doesn't need much in regards to like prepping and food, prepping and heat and stuff like that. All you need is a good sear, and make sure you're kind of following the processes to prep beforehand, and you're good to go. But chicken, pork, they're a little more hard guidelined, essentially, because you have to exceed a certain temperature in order for it to be safe to eat and not get salmonella and not get food poisoning. Steak is a little more forgiving on that score. Let's see, rosemary, thyme. I know, but like once you kind of like understand, again, the kind of like the method of steak preparation, and just being confident in it, like then it's really like it's difficult to kind of mess up steak. So, but again, of course, like I'll say, I'll be the first to say I've messed up steak plenty of times in the past because I didn't really understand the science of it. And what you really want to try and achieve is allowing the steak to rest 30 minutes before it even touches the pan. And you want a searing hot pan so it can get that nice crust for when you season it with salt and pepper. And of course, seasoning is like, kind of your own thing of choice, but it doesn't need much, especially if you're going for like a medium rare. I like rare, but it doesn't need to stay on there super long, like maybe like 60 seconds each side. And also when you incorporate the oven as well, it's it's not hard to mess up. But if you do, no big deal. It's like it'll still probably be edible as long as it's not like charcoal black. Then you're fine. So what if it's a little more overdone or well done? That's, as long as it's edible, like who cares? Like you'll just get another steak and like you'll use it for other purposes. So that being said, I feel like I had like some sort of segue or another good point to make. Oh, Sosin, thank you so much for the follow and welcome to the stream. Yeah, steak is really good. The only delicacy I can do. What now? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, okay. That sounds Italian. I've never heard of this dish before. Oh, that's cool. Well, when it comes to well done, basically what I'm pretty sure, at least at some level, people understand this, but when it comes to like the levels of doneness, it's the internal temperature or the internal like look of the steak. Rare to medium rare, it's still pink and red, like in the middle. Rare is like it's still bleeding. So, and that's the way I kind of like my steaks. Medium rare is kind of a nice balance of like gray of that brown, essentially, like surrounding the cut of the meat. And there's still a fine little bit of pinkness in there, but not a ton. Well done is like it's just completely cooked through, all the way through. Some people argue that the perfect steak is anywhere between like rare and medium rare is what you want. But of course, there are those like that enjoy a medium well steak, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like you're going to eat it at the end of the day, so who cares? And but that's what I was going to do. I was going to check on the time. All right, cool. So, ooh, hello. I just got a text from my best friend that I mentioned beforehand. Oh, good grief. He sent a fun little text my way as something that we've been talking back and forth on for a good long while now. That let sleeping dogs lie and leave me alone. But okay, so we got about like 10, 12 minutes left before we basically need to fish this bad boy out of the oven. Well, we don't fish it out of the oven yet. We take the cover off and then let it brown, essentially, for a good like 10 minutes. But of course, we need to reduce the temperature down to 400 when that comes around. Let me go ahead and just double check something real quick one more time. Yeah, so roughly 10 minutes. We'll go ahead and do that. And in the meantime, I'm actually a little thirsty. Got myself my glorified Mason's jar here. This ain't moonshine, just letting you know. Wait, hang on. When's the Buff Albert versus Dr. Ratio stream happen? I'll have to give Mr. Bill Butts a call and see if we can coordinate something like that. But yeah, that man's awesome. Bless him. Yeah, I have yet to beat him in arm wrestling. That's been not my New Year's resolution, but that's a challenge that I've been giving myself. I'm like, I just want to win once. I just want to but he's got height on me and build on me. So my chances of winning are slim to none, but it's, who doesn't love a good Rocky story, Oh, pasta recipes. I love pasta. Yes. Funny enough, I don't know if I'm outing myself here. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've never felt more safe in my entire life than I was in that man's arms at the Game Realm signing. And yeah, that was just very much like, I'm going to carry you now. I'm like, oh my word. So, but yeah, pasta absolutely is on the menu. Well, we can definitely be tackling that. But again, I don't know if I'm outing myself here, but I don't know if you guys have heard of Bob's Big Boys chili spaghetti, but that was the first time that Martini spaghetti. Oh yeah, oh my goodness, made in Persephone. Thank you so much for the callback on that. For those of you who don't know, I was in a local theater production of It's a Wonderful Life, and I played Mr. Martini. So I had a plate of fake spaghetti, which was a lot of fun, and also I had a big old spruce mustache. Yes, chili spaghetti. It's actually a signature at Bob's Big Boys, and Bob's Big Boy. There you are. And that was actually the first time I had any sort of pasta dish from my childhood, and my dad would make it for very special occasions. So you get a can of chili, and then you make the traditional spaghetti noodles, and then you combine those things and you add a shredded cheddar cheese with one slab of American cheese, and you just let that emulsify and melt. And oh my gosh, so good, so yummy. Not the healthiest thing for you, but by gum, is it delicious. That's like childhood for me, man, right up there with PB&J. But yeah, we can definitely try and go for something like that. Maybe a little more on the scratch, but I can probably make two versions, the quick and dirty version, and then of course okay, we're gonna make the chili from scratch, this from scratch, and just see what happens. But yes, yeah, it's a, I don't know, I feel like it's kind of an unappreciated tradition or something. I don't know what to call it, but basically it's an old pastime from a restaurant franchise or a restaurant chain that is it hasn't had its time in the sun, because look at IHOP, people still get business through them and stuff like that, and people love IHOP. And so, but Bob's Big Boy, not a whole lot of people remember Bob's Big Boy. So, but yeah, that's where the chili spaghetti originates from, along with a couple other things, because they have killer shakes, they have burgers, and funny enough, actually, the first time I met my castmates from Honkai Star Rail, we went bar hopping in the beginning, and I typically don't drink these days anymore, but for the sake of it, I treated myself to one. But afterwards, once we had some fun, just socializing and fellowshipping, we hit up a local Bob's Big Boy in Burbank. And for those of you who are familiar with Camden Stream, and also Camden, who voices Aventurine, he can tell you all about the sugar fries. That's where that whole thing started from. But that, my goodness, yeah, that was at the beginning of of last year, or at least somewhere at the beginning of last year. It's oh yeah, the sugar fries. Oh my word. I knew that we would, like, after that interaction with all, I knew that we were like, okay, we're meant to be like friends for forever. This is incredible. So so yeah, it's I kind of forget where I was going with this, but in regards to the whole Bob's Big Boy chili spaghetti thing, but yeah, that's nostalgia for me. Like that has a lot of special. It holds a special place in my memory as from a kid eating chili spaghetti. But let me hydrate. While we wait, we hydrate. There we go. Having sugar and fries was such an experience. Oh, so you actually enjoyed it. You know, I feel like that wouldn't be like it wouldn't be a negative experience, because sweet potato fries is a thing, and so it's like I feel like that's not too off the beaten path in regards to enjoying your fried potatoes, your papas fritas, adding a little bit of sugar, azul. No, not azul. Forget the Spanish word is for sugar, but I digress. Oh yeah, sweet potato fries. Ooh, let me go ahead and catch up on the follows here real quick, everyone. Oh, there you are. Sven, apologies. Thank you so much for the follow. Dust Collector 69, thank you so much for the follow. Funniest, thank you so much for the follow. Irina, thank you so much for the follow. And Okami, thank you so much for the follow. I was interacting with I forget who I was interacting with. I'm pretty sure it was from someone on Twitter, but they were talking about playing Okami on my stream, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember playing Okami for the Nintendo Wii, and I loved that game. And I'll say this much: as much of a gimmick the Nintendo Wii was, I actually appreciated for how it tried something different and new. And Okami, I felt like was like the perfect game for the Wii. I feel like, because like the way you can basically use a paintbrush and stuff like that, it actually kind of made it more of a more memorable experience, in my opinion. And did it work 100% all the time? No, it didn't. But if anything, it actually kind of allowed me to kind of get tuned in more with the mechanics of the nunchuck and the Wii remote. And it was just an incredible experience. I missed playing that game. So I think hopefully I'll be able to revisit that game in the not too distant future, along with a couple of other titles. I think I've since updated my panels on my Twitch channel, but anywho, let me just chat. Wait, you deserve it, Ace. whatever you're being bullied for, you deserve it. Oh my word. Okay, if it's talking about hydration, then yes, absolutely. You deserve that. Okay. Let me check the time real quick. I think we're nearing the minute. Oh, yep, 2 minutes. There we are. Let me go ahead and get our things in place here. That, then that. Let me go ahead and actually put a couple of these things away. I can put my bread flour away. Put that right there. Put this right here. I might actually fill up my bread flour container in just a second here, because I think it'll... when you start cooking, you kind of forget to do chores, if you follow. All right, I'll put this back. I don't need this. I'm definitely going to need a cutting board for when the loaf is finished and we can basically carve into it. And I don't think of anything else then. Oh yeah, that's right. We don't need this anymore, so we can actually, why not? Basically, when you get to this phase right here, you're gonna want brown almond flour. And what that does is it prevents the loaf from sticking to the bread basket and also from anything else. So it just makes for just a small cleanup thing to do, but just things to consider in the future. So I'm just going to put that there. And, oh yeah, that's my cast iron skillet. I don't need that. But let me see. Ooh, let me polish off the rest of my tea. Ooh, Warrior Fan, thank you so much for the follow and welcome to the stream. Lovely. I appreciate that, Warrior. Thank you. Oh yeah, the whistle. It was so catchy with Fantastic Mr. Fox. It's the film itself is incredible. I love it. I love stop animation, but the signature whistle and the click, it sticks with you. And I've kind of just incorporated that whenever I'm just, along with just, I don't know if anyone else does this, but I tend to like speak out what I'm doing in any given particularly when I'm by myself. But whenever I'm doing something, or like if I'm going upstairs, like, okay, I need to get my keys, I need to get that, I need to grab this, I tend to just say what I'm thinking out loud. And because for whatever reason, it just helps me like realign and then refocus what it is I'm doing. And that's time. Okay. What? Stop. There we are. And so let's go ahead and bring this down to 400 degrees. Perfect. And let's go ahead and uncover the, oh, hang on, 2 seconds. Let's do this first. All right, cool. We don't need that. We're gonna need 10 minutes on the timer now at this point. But we won't start it yet. We're gonna put these bad boys on. Open the furnace. There we are. Woohoo! Set that covering off to the side. Oh, it looks so good. Close that up for 10 minutes. And then we'll check on it after the timer's done. Boom, 10 minutes. And wouldn't you know, it's gonna be 2 minutes until our next stretch and fold process. So actually I need to kind of remove this now. I'll put this over here, at least for now. And, oh wow, yeah, that's warm, don't touch that. Let me go ahead and bring this over here. It's bread. I can make bread with it. Bread, bread, bread. Pikachu, don't. Thank you, but at the same time, please, like, sleep when you need to. Don't stay up for my account. As I've gotten older, I've really learned to treasure and appreciate sleep. So, because my heart breaks whenever I hear someone be like, "Yeah, I haven't slept in like 24 hours." I'm like, "Why? What's wrong?" He's like, "I don't know. Like, I gotta keep working, or I gotta keep doing this or something like that." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I know how that feels when you're just completely sleep deprived." RT, what's sleep? Is that a food or something? Oh, absolutely. My hope is the next con that I go to, I can prep and I can, because when it comes to fresh baked bread, the shelf life isn't the best, but here's actually how you can extend your bread shelf life. You can actually put fresh bread in the freezer and basically just let that preserve itself until you're ready to take it. Because what you do is, it sounds like madness, but when you're ready to take the bread out of the freezer, you actually run it under water and like get some like absorbency back into it. You don't want to completely drown it where it falls apart, but when it's still frozen, you want to run it under the water, let it absorb a bit of the water, and then you're going to throw that back in the oven, and then it's going to be as crisp as when you first basically baked it for the first time. And I haven't done that yet, but for the next con that I want to go to, I definitely want to make fresh bread for people that come by. And oh, speaking of, ready for the next stretch and fold process. And so that's just something that I really want to do. I don't know if how practical it is, or if it's just more of a pipe dream or just something that it's like, no, that's not gonna work, dude. But that is something in me that I definitely want to try. Yes, please. Yes, if you could. My con rep is Epic Talent. You can find it on my Twitter page. So if you guys reach out to your local cons or reach out to my con rep and just say, hey, send Jordan over here, like, or send Jordan over there, kind of a thing. That's the quickest way for where I can get from here to you guys. So now, second instruction fold process. Now, as we're handling this, it's going to start firming up more. Very good. And also, like, there's a bit of fun, like, with this as well. I don't know why, but I kind of like can't help but think, but like going back to like my childhood where I used to play with Play-Doh for the first time, it's not the same consistency, but it definitely has that same kind of vibe, like, you know, where you're just basically like messing with something that is quite, I guess maybe thick. I don't know. Because like Play-Doh, it's got its own consistency, and this isn't Play-Doh, but like it's kind of got that same kind of like, I don't know, like vibe from it. But anyways, that looks great. We'll go ahead and cover that up again. And just to the point. Perfect. Now that's the second stretch and fold done. And we're coming up on 5 minutes for our precious loaf. And we'll go ahead and wash our hands real quick. And we're going to want to do two things. That cutting board that I got out, we'll definitely need that. Actually, this is damp enough. I'm going to use this. And also, move that aside, bring the camera back down just so you guys can see it for when it happens. And also for the grand reveal for when it happens. So we'll grab this, bring this over here. Damn gun, that's still hot. Now I have, I actually got a new knife, a new bread knife specifically. So there's this one that I got from a good friend of mine from the theater house that I mentioned before, where we just wrapped up It's a Wonderful Life. And what's cool about this one, it almost kind of like not only just reminds me of like a, you know, violin, whatever it's called. It's a bow, essentially, so I can pretend to play the violin. But also, it's got like portions already like set already. Like this is a hefty portion, but you can like fine tune anything of that. So it's like you're not gonna cut it too much, essentially. So, but anyways, so there's this one, and then there's my Japanese bread knife. This is the this one is the not really the big kahuna, but this one is I very much treasure this one. So this is for like meant for actually like bisecting the loaves and stuff and seeing like the crust of it, which I think we'll do for just such an occasion. So I'll set this off to the side, leave this here, then maybe I'll position this right there. I think that's gonna be perfect. Oh yes, fancy. Let me go ahead and catch up with everyone here real quick. Oh, C. Bent a Court, I want to say. Thank you so much for the follow, and thank you so much for tuning into the stream. I appreciate you. Yeah, it's a huge knife, and the better to cut bread with, my dear. And in the meantime, let me actually go ahead and get a couple little things out here just so we can, well, actually not yet, because here's the thing about any sort of bread. When you pull bread out of the oven, you need to let it rest. Is it the end of the world if you carve into it immediately? No, but basically what you're doing is you're letting all the steam like within the bread escape so it dries out more. Because if you cut into it immediately, it's going to be a bit gummy. So you want to basically let that rest and let it completely solidify and completely dry out before you basically carve into it. So I think it maybe no more than like maybe 10, 15 minutes, but we've also still got stuff to cover as well on that score. But when we do bring it out, we'll admire it for a minute, and I think we'll go to a quick break afterwards, if it's all the same to you guys. So let me go ahead and while we wait, we hydrate. Oh, you poor thing. I'm so sorry. Yeah, you got to be careful around knives. All of us. I can speak from experience. I've cut myself more times than I can count when I was being stupid. While we wait, we hydrate. I can't coin that term. Someone else has said it. There's a I don't want to call him a chef, but he's a YouTuber on in more of like the hunting, kind of a genre. He's called Still Cracker, and he comes from the swamps of Louisiana, and he's a true Cajun. And he's the one that coined that. He was like, while we wait, we hydrate. So just basically carrying on the tradition. I have a scar on my, oh wow. Ooh, yeah, that's no fun. That's no fun. I'm trying to think if I actually have anything like on me that's of any dumb mistakes that I've made, because I think I would actually have plenty. Well, I do have a burn here, actually, now that I think about it. Woohoo! So I'm not sure if you can, dang it. I have to like contort my arm and my wrist in a way where it's just like, anyway, there's a burn right here. And this actually kind of came from when I was not careful enough when I was actually getting my Dutch oven out of the oven, where whenever your wrists bend inwards and you're trying to accommodate in such a way where you feel like it's going to compromise, it touched me ever so lightly here, but it didn't register until I put it down. I'm like, ah! So thankfully I didn't drop it or anything like that, but yeah, injuries, they make for fun stories and funny engagements. I touched a light bulb once. Oh my gosh, that must have been some light bulb. Good heavens, man. Oop, there we go. All right. Let me see here. Yep. All right. It's time. Let's go ahead and kill the heat. Very good. We won't use the other mitts. We'll use these ones. These were Uganda mitts that I think my sister actually came back from when she went on a missions trip to Uganda. They're the perfect bread handling. They're light enough to handle food and stuff like that, but not so thick for handling hot things like that. So the grand reveal, everyone. Here we go. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Come to Papa. Oh ho 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 ho. Yes. Yes. Ooh. Oh my. Let me go ahead and grab that out. Close this back up. And why not? I'll go ahead and put that right there for now. It's not going to go anywhere. Very, very good. Oh, ho, 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 ho. Oh my gosh, that's so good. Take a gander at that, my little duckies. It's almost got like a crown effect on it. Oh yeah, that's gorgeous. I'm trying to get every angle. It's almost like a fashion walkway or something like that, or a catwalk. Fashion bread. Okay, I am very tempted to get into this, but I know we need to let this rest. So I think that is the perfect opportunity, I think, to cut to a quick break. Thank you guys so much, but we will be back in just a minute. And feel free to go do whatever, go to the bathroom. I'm certainly going to take advantage of that. But yes, we shall be back momentarily. Until then, see you in a bit. Where to go? Oh yeah. All right, folks, and we are back. Fantastic. So, I think this is the perfect timing. I feel like. Oh, Persephone, thank you for the heart. Yay! Thank you for your signature black hearts. Bless your little black hearts. And thank you guys so much for sticking around. Oh my goodness, so exciting, so very exciting. Let me go ahead and do two things real quick. Let me check the time. Oh my goodness, all you guys in your hearts. Thank you. All right, so we got 5 minutes until the third stretch and fold process. But until then, I think enough time has expired where we can admire this beautiful loaf. Let's see. Oh, it's still a little warm, but yeah. Oh my goodness. And the sound, it's the crust. Oh, that sounds so great. I don't know if you guys got heard that or got picked up or not. But it's a symphony of crackle. Part of me wishes I think I should have left it in there, or at least uncovered for a bit longer. But I don't think that'll be too bad, all things considered. But I think enough time has passed where we can carve into it. So let's go ahead and do that real quick and get ourselves some accoutrement. I'm going to get some butter. Butter! And a couple other fixings here and there. Let's see here. That's a gratuitous amount of butter. Let's do this. There we go. Break that off. It's nice. And then, cool. Now then, before we actually portion this out, I'm going to go ahead and, this was given to me by a good friend of mine. This is pomegranate jelly, homemade. And my gosh, is this stuff good, guys. I feel like we have to kind of go in sections. So let's go ahead without any further ado. Let's get out the chef's knife. There's a tip guard here. Take that off. And let's see how we're going to tack. Let's go ahead and tack it like so. Very good. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. Oh yeah. That looks incredible. Oh my gosh, and it's still just slightly warm. Just warm enough to melt butter. Let's go ahead and dive into it, shall we? Now that I've used this bad boy to, you know what? Yeah, I probably should have let this dry a little more. It did gum up the knife a bit, but for sure it'll, in the words of Rubius Hagrid, I'm pretty sure it'll taste fine just the same. Let me go ahead and actually use this to portion out the cuts real quick. My gosh, this is such a handy little knife. I love it. Very good. We'll leave that to the side. Ooh, and also the bottom crust. Ooh la la. Ow! Oops, yep, that's still hot. Let's try this again. Actually, no. I went through all that trouble just to use this knife again. Let's try that again. Come on, break, my friend. Woohoo! Hallelujah. There we go. Yeah, I definitely should have let this rest by a little longer. I guess it's longer than 10 minutes. I guess maybe I got, you don't get everything right nothing 100% goes according to plan. But let me go ahead and actually slather up some butter on this bad boy. There we are. Real men butter with a spoon. As long as it's not dancing around the whole time. Good heavens. Okay. There you go. There you go. And let's get the other one. Why not? Let's get that one too. Let's do this. Boop, boo, boo. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Oh yeah, and it's melting right as I'm applying it to the surface. Heck yeah. Real butter with a spoon. Thank you, thank you. So this is just our the loaf, just with just plain old butter. Uh-oh. Oh my gosh. Holy cow. Holy cow. My goodness. It has been a minute since I've had sourdough, fresh baked sourdough. That is incredible. I share this all with you guys. Thank you guys for sticking around and for seeing the process from start to finish. Oh, this is the perfect opportunity before I get to the stretch and folds to catch up with the follows. Ema, thank you so much for the follow. Lavendin, thank you so much for the follow. Rainmaker, thank you so much for the follow. Jason, why not? Ghost Taffy, Siriu, Halma, thank you guys so much for the follows. You guys are incredible, and thank you so much for sticking for the long haul for this this cooking stream. I'm gonna go ahead and actually finish this off. I'll come back to this in a minute. Put that there for now, because I want to try it with the pomegranate jelly. But first, let us do the third stretch and fold here. And after that, we'll only have one more left to go. Oh wow, that bread is so good. As a former bread muncher, you now own that title for Uncle Bread. Oh yeah, it's super good, super yummy. And honestly, there's no right or wrong way to go about enjoying sourdough. Topping it with something sweet or even something savory and adding it with your dinner. It's you really can't go wrong with it. One more little dabble do ya for the water. So let's get a little more stretch in there just before we see what's up. Yep, that's firming up beautifully. Very good. My gosh, that's a loaf you can slap or punch. There we go. And then one hand, why not? Boop, boo, boo. Very good. We'll set this off to the side. Wash my hand off real quick. Yeah, I am definitely gonna start bringing sourdough bread to the cons that I go to, because I want you guys to enjoy this as much as I am right now. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and get the rest of that butter and that piece right there. Very good. Wham, bam. Thank you, ma'am. Very good. We'll leave no man behind. And start off savory. We're gonna go ahead and end with sweet. There we go. Leave no butter behind. I think a little dab will do ya. That's good. Yabba dabba dooba. Oh, that pomegranate pink, vibrant red color. That looks gorgeous. I don't know if any of you, I've never actually made jelly before, like homemade jelly. I feel like that's something that I'd like to tackle. A cool thing to share with you guys is, I don't know if, it's in my fridge actually, but I want to bite this right now, but, well, let me finish my thought and I'll get into this in a second. Oh wow, that's good. One thing I've discovered actually is making homemade syrups. Now, this is aside from maple syrup. What you can do is kind of the same like in a fermentation process. You guys can either get organic or frozen blueberries or any kind of fruit. And what you do is you add equal parts sugar to the amount of fruit that it is, whether it be kind of go-to is either blueberry or strawberry. And the end result kind of speaks for itself. Let me go ahead and share that real quick. So I made homemade blueberry juice and then blueberry syrup and then homemade blueberry homemade blueberry sorry, this is distracting me. Homemade strawberry syrup. Yes, I was on syrups, and so for whatever reason I lost my way. It came back, but real quick, wanted to share this with you. So this is the process. So this is the strawberry syrup. It's kind of a little hard to see, at least in this light. Oh yeah. So what you do is you add equal parts, these were frozen strawberries. So it's equal parts strawberries, equal parts sugar. And then you kind of leave this in a dry area or even in your fridge. And basically what it does, the sugar separates the moisture and the water from the fruit. And you're left with this beautiful strawberry syrup. And it's the same thing with, they kind of look the same, but this is the blueberry syrup. So what it does is the sugar draws out the moisture, and all you're left with is just the, I guess the husks of the fruit. But oh my gosh, this is such really, really tasty stuff. I add this to my coffee, specifically like cold brew, to like desserts and things like that. And I'd like to, it's really easy to do. Like really, really simple. Again, but these are one of the things that you just need a food scale, and that's pretty much all you need. But this has been calling my name for a while, so. My gosh, that could stop wars. Wow. It says, eat me. I feel like that's an Alice in Wonderland reference. Drink me, eat me. The right side will make you grow smaller, and the left side will make you grow taller. Oh yeah. Apologies for the crunching sounds, folks. I promise this will be the only time I get into a little snack for myself, but hallelujah, that's yummy. All right. I hope I remember to time myself with the next stretch and fold, because like we only have one more stretch and fold to go, and then this process is basically finished. Let me see here. Whoops! Couldn't have been no more than 5 minutes, I would say. Yeah, 25, that's fine. There are poor people in China that would I feel like that would be kind of cruel. There are starving people in China. I'm like, well, they can watch, but they can't eat. Oh, heck yeah. All right. Let me go ahead and actually start doing a little bit of cleanup here. Put the jelly away. We'll start doing the process of cleanup. Put the butter away. Buttered! Lemon, that's more like it. Jam, forgot all about jam. Ooh, a little bit of jam residue behind. That's yummy. Am I forgetting anything? Oh yeah, that's right. I definitely need to clean my knives. So I'm gonna have to revisit this again, but I think you need to wait longer for this to rest before you can start carving into it, because exactly what I was trying to avoid happened, where you can't really see it on the actual camera, but at least maybe with the reflection of it. See how it's a little gummy? Like because there was still heat and residue in there, it was gonna basically kind of like just gum up the blade. But it's not gonna hurt it in any way, shape, or form. But it just means I just need to be a little more careful in the future. So let me go ahead and take the time real quick to put these over here and also catch up with who's still viewing. Lavin, thank you so much for the follow. Yes, 9 minutes ago. There we go. Oh, Roxas, thank you so much. Thank you for the follow. Roxas of Malice. Interesting. Ooh, Atmosphere, thank you so much for the follow. And thank you for sticking with us through to the end. Yay, Rosie! Oh, thank you. Thank you, Smile. I appreciate you. Yeah, for whatever reason, it could just be in a different environment, but like for the first stream, people are saying that like, oh, is this a podcast? I'm like, I'm not trying it to be a podcast, but yeah, apparently I just have a voice for it, but not intentionally trying to go for a podcast vibe. But anyways, now that I'm caught up, just give me like 2 seconds to kind of just clean off my knives real quick, and I'll come back lickety split. There we are. Talk amongst yourselves, my little duckies. I shall return momentarily. There we are. Apologies, I just want to tackle this right now real quick, just so it's not as much of a cleanup for when I have to tackle it later. This shouldn't take me a ton of time, so. I can hear my neighbor's dogs from next door. They're very vocal creatures, but they're sweet enough. Also, I could be wrong, but I think the wind is finally dying down. Yeah, things have been a little bonkers here in SoCal with this wind and all. Very good. Give that a rinse and a shake. Poif, just poif, as my sister would always say. Uh-oh, hang on. I think I missed a little something. A little schmutz. There we go. All right. Sweet, salty, and delicious. Very, very good. There's always some little morsel then. I forget. Oh, I spoke too soon. I can still hear the wind, apparently, out there. I'll put this over here. Why not? Put that there. Then, yeah, we're good. Well, hang tight. Okay, yeah, it's safe to handle now. It's still decently warm, but warm enough where it's not going to hurt you. Back down you go, my friend. And let me see here. What time are we at? Perfect. Very nice. All right, we shall let this beautiful thing have a nice little rest right over here. In the meantime, let's do a quick little cleanup. All right, and And now I think now's a good time as any to bring the camera back up just so I don't have to crouch down anymore. There we are. And now I can, oh, still cutting my head off. There we are, that's better. Poif, just poif. Let's see. Wanderedly Can, 13, thank you so much for the follow. And thank you so much for sticking it out to the end with all of us. I appreciate you. Let me see here. Perfect, yeah. It's more like a borderline Jersey / East Coast, you know, kind of that just comes and goes every so often. Kind of comes with the territory of being a voice actor. Wait, where's Merle? Oh, I'm so sorry to hear you're feeling under the weather. I hope you have a speedy recovery. Head is back. I'm no longer the headless horseman or the headless egg. Decide what to get. Get something that's carb heavy in honor of today's stream. Headless. Don't worry, Lily. No headless horses here. Oh, thank you. Yeah. So hopefully, when it comes to sourdough making, and I can kind of like see this in the foreseeable future, I'm definitely grateful that I prepped what I prepped ahead of time. And of course, the grand reveal, the pièce de résistance with the sourdough. I think in the future I might tweak things a little differently here and there. But when it comes to tackling other recipes, not sure. Because I'm thinking about like things like cooking a steak and stuff like that, and then maybe because the time segment and the time slot that I originally wanted between like 2 to 6. Might not be able to accommodate that, because not that it's going to be too long, it might be too short. So I might have to like just kind of might have another backup like recipe to do or something like that in case for whatever reason. But honestly, when it comes to like steak dishes and other things like that, there's definitely a lot of wiggle room to accompany that, because you can of course like make any side dish along with the steak or what have you, or even like with spaghetti. I think there's definitely going to be enough to keep me busy in real time and hopefully keep you guys entertained. That's ultimately what I feel like the most important thing is making sure that what you guys are seeing or you're enjoying and also engaged with. Wait, to ask a sourdough. Oh, as a pizza base, is that optimal, or is there something else you think is the most optimal pizza choice? You know, that's a good question. An answer that I don't really think I have one. I just can maybe have my opinion about it. I feel like for me, like it sounds like a match made in heaven, like having a sourdough base for a pizza. But my best friend that I mentioned before, he would actually probably be the better person to ask this question, since his family owns a pizza joint. So I know for the sake, I'll say this, I'm pretty sure you could do it. I'm pretty sure you're not breaking any laws, you're not basically violating any taboos, because I know there's some food debates out there like pineapple on pizza, yes or no. I don't care, food is food, but when it comes to like sourdough base for pizzas, I feel like that's something you absolutely could do, and it's not going to hurt the pizza. It's still going to taste really good, yummy. Just the dough has more of a sourdough flavor profile, and I'm pretty sure there's things you can probably accommodate that where it could work, and then also where it really isn't much of a difference. So hopefully that answered your question, but yeah, because I think with any kind of dough, you could do whatever. You could probably fry it, make donuts out of it. You could really do all sorts of things. But I know for the sake of it, when it comes to running a pizza joint, there's a specific recipe that all pizza joints usually go by, because you can yield the most amount of bread since you cook everything in-house or in-store, where you need to have like the quickest turnout when it comes to things rising and things being mixed and what have you. Sourdough takes a long time. And of course there's a flow of things where you can do that to make that optimal. Bakeries do it all the time. But in regards to like pizzas, there needs to be like a lot more consistency, because people are buying fresh pizzas like on the hour on the hour essentially. So that's at least my 2 cents on it. Aren't we all? Yeah. Sourdough pizza with a sweet sauce. Yeah, honestly, that sounds like a sweet and sour, like, kind of a vibe. Yeah. But I've seen some of my actually favorite cooking channels on YouTube, actually, in no particular order. Some of them kind of fall into the category of like foraging, hunting, fishing, and they just so happen to be cooks. But I think one of my favorite cooking channels out there, in no particular order, The Mythical Kitchen, Binging with Babish, and I'm trying to think of a couple others, but like for whatever reason, like my mind is going a little blank. Yes, yeah, Mythical Kitchen, Mythical Chef Josh. Yeah, that's actually how it was. One of his videos actually that I learned how to basically up my steak game, and also honestly my turkey game too, because he's got a great video out there. They did this. I encourage all of you guys, look it up right now. There's a for those of you who celebrate Thanksgiving, they basically had to like basting. Does it do anything when in regards to preparing a turkey? Surprisingly, it does. Spoiler warning here. But they literally did like a Mythbusters or like Food Busters kind of segment where they took a control, like they had 3 turkeys. One was a control, one was a basting, and then one was non-basting essentially. And they even separated certain sections of the turkey. And what they found is that brining your turkey and basting your turkey made for the most juicy, delicious, and most flavorful turkey that you can do. And of course, this is completely unrelated to frying your turkeys, which I know is, an art in and of itself. But if you're basically kind of going for like dry brining as to wet brining, or basting as opposed to non-basting, wet brine and then basting your turkey yields the juiciest meat that you can hope for. And I've done it it's such a weird thing when you try a recipe for yourself and it actually turns out the way you're hoping for it. It's like again, like as I mentioned before, like it's like a humble brag, but not really a humble brag. And also when there's an expectation for when you're making a meal for others, because I made this turkey for some theater friends of mine, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, this is the best turkey we ever had." I'm like, "Oh, tell me more, tell me more." as I'm chowing down on really yummy turkey. I'm sorry. So, but yeah, so Mythical Kitchen, Binging with Babish, and there's a couple other channels that I follow, but for whatever reason, my brain is not functioning the way I want it to function. But there's a ton of resources out there for those, but all it takes is like one dish, I feel like, whether that be bread or whether that be something that you think like, okay, I can do that, like starting somewhere. Once you like master like one dish, and whether it be sourdough making, if you guys decide to start doing this yourself, that's basically what's going to springboard you forward and motivate you to kind of tackle more complicated and more challenging recipes. And it's the same thing with any like trade or any sort of talent. Once you work consistently at it, you're going to want to be like, okay, well, what about this? I always want to learn how to cook that. And also, it's not only will you be improving your knowledge, but also just your practical, like, I hate to use the word for survival, but like your practical skills to like take care of yourself and others. And there's like such a rewarding feeling when it comes to that. Hold the phone. Let me just go ahead and make sure that I'm all up to speed on those who are following currently and those who are tuned in. Oh, yeah, let me go ahead and answer that question. Is sourdough bread good for people who are trying to lose weight, or is it, about the same as regular bread? Well, here's the thing. Carbs work carbs. Let's see, hang on. Carbs are carbs at the end of the day, but what's great about sourdough is that because it's fermented, it's actually healthy, like for your gut, essentially. And there are also other properties that I can't really think of at the top of my head that don't really pack on as much weight as opposed to other breads, because the reason there's no sugar in sourdough. And a majority of other breads, which is why I mentioned before with the sandwich bread that I'd like for us to try and tackle, you do need sugar in order to prep other breads, and that's kind of like where that unhealthy kind of aspect comes from. But carbs aren't bad as people make them out to be. The issue is with incorporating carbs and other things that you need in your diet as well, because what people tend to do is they either cut out carbs out completely, and they but like they're eating other things that are like high in sugar, high in salt. And not to like out the food industry or anything like that, but this kind of comes from the territory of having an aunt who owns a restaurant. She what you really need to worry about is, and again, not everyone is the same in regards to your intake, or like what your dietary restrictions are. Of course, consult your doctor, but I'll go ahead and illustrate it this way. What my aunt was basically explaining to me, and also this is kind of the darker side of the fast food industry. She's like, it's like, Jordan, the reason why fast food is so dangerous, and I hate to pick on fast food because like I'm a sucker for it too. Should we eat it every day? No, but let me go ahead and highlight this for you. If you guys look up the menu of any fast food joint, and look up the ingredients, because by law they have to disclose like what's in all their food items, like whether it be McDonald's or Burger King or KFC or what have you. If you look at the salt intake or the salt quality count of any like fast food item, it's shocking. First, do this. Look up, okay, what is the dietary allowance of someone's sodium or salt intake? And it's a right around, I want to say like maybe like 1,800 grams or something like that, or I forget. Let me just consult that. Let me consult Google real quick. What is the dietary, wait, let me try that again. What is the dietary limit to salt? What is the dietary limit of sodium for the average human? Okay, so according to let me see here. Okay, so according to the FDA, 2,300 milligrams of sodium per day. So just keep that in mind. If you look at the food items of just maybe McDonald's, a single, I want to say Big Mac, no, like a single like cheeseburger, or I'm blanking now on like just their standard burger. But if you look up like a standard burger from McDonald's, it's like 1,800, like just for that one, just by the sandwich alone. So that already kind of shows you like a McDouble, yeah. So I don't know, I'm just making up things, like food items at this point. But if you look up, yeah, just the salt intake, it's shocking, because if you're only really allowed like 2,300 milligrams of salt per day, and then they like a single like cheeseburger from a fast food place like exceeds that or gets at least close to that, and people have multiple of that plus fries and a drink, things start to add up. So it just kind of puts things in perspective. And let me also go ahead and share this. The reason why salt is kind of dangerous, where we just kind of consume it without even like really realizing it. You could be in the best shape of your life, but if your salt intake is off the charts, where it's a problem, it doesn't matter how hard you work out. It doesn't matter how healthy you look. You're basically like you're setting yourself up for a heart attack essentially. And of course, like salt adds extra just problems like to your dietary flow, I guess, if that makes any sense. Because when I was younger, I want to say my mid-20s, I really got into bodybuilding, and I really got into specifically like the Scottish Highland Games, and also bodybuilders. Like the strongest man contest really kind of popped up in my YouTube recommendations. And those men are, of course, they're jacked, but they're not really jacked the way you'd think. Like, you know, they're huge, like they're like just both size and musculature and what have you. And so at one point or other, what's really cool about this story is it's two things, but also it kind of ends tragically. Wait, hang on. Oh, yay! Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dead Wheel Power. I appreciate you. Yeah, blood pressure issues. Yeah, they just skyrocket. Case in point, there was from those strongest men contests, I found another like rabbit hole to go down. And these were bodybuilders. They were all ex-convicts. They were all, some were ex-cons, some were rehabilitated prison inmates. They completely turned their whole life around, a complete 180. And they basically turned to a life of bodybuilding. Like they went from a life of crime and then started working out, and then like started basically becoming like personalities and trainers and stuff like that. And like they basically like opened a gym and a business, and they basically were even sharing their life story. It was incredible. But one guy in particular, he was like, if you looked at him, you'd think that he was like trying to go for the Atlas award or something like that, like strongest man on earth. He was ripped, he was muscular, and he like looked like he was such a healthy specimen. But one day he had a heart attack, and people were shocked. It's like, what the heck happened? And so it turns out that while he was in prison, this is why diet matters so much. And this is also comes from someone who worked in commissary in prisons. What inmates do is there's this venue that you can basically work through to get like things like chips and ramen and other like hygiene like packets and stuff like that wouldn't normally be provided by the jail system or the prison system. And so this guy, he comes from a life of crime, but then turns his life around and starts bodybuilding, but his eating habits didn't change. He would just buy packets and packets of instant ramen and just eat that all the time because it's cheap. And so if you look at just even the ingredients and like the sodium intake of ramen, it's shocking. So he was eating ramen packets, but still like in amazing shape, and he had a heart attack and died. So that's why it's really important to know what you're putting in your body, and also just really kind of like being more proactive about the food that we buy and the food that we put in our systems. And I know it's like ramen's really good. Like homemade ramen, that's a whole different story. But even then, like, you know, within everything within limitation. And yeah, he was literally eating that every single day. And so sure enough, like he had a whole new life, like ready for him. And then tragically it got cut short. So hopefully I wasn't rambling too much here. I do like to yap. So just, but yeah, what I want to at least provide in regards, like, you know, to streaming content and all that jazz. And now we've reached our last stretch and fold, which is awesome. And then we just simply let this rise on its own after this. But that's one thing I really wanted to start doing with live streaming like this, is just sharing what I know, even if I can't really eloquently put it the way that I want to. But I learned all this from my aunt, who like just knows just the current state of our food industry. And sadly, I hate to be this bold about it, but fast food industry is really kind of killing Americans. So I don't want to, you know, trust me from someone who grew up with fast food. I feel like along with I think theme parks that me and my family grew up with, fast food was definitely kind of like a close second, that we would go out like all the time basically. And of course the novelties, and my mom can even tell you that with the Happy Meals and the whole like fun, you know, apparatuses in the play place, they know how to bring customers in. But just I only say this is just from a place of concern, because I know that people from my generation, we don't really tend to like care too much where our next meal comes from, and also we've just kind of lost as a generation, like just the art of cooking. And I'm not an expert when it comes to this kind of stuff, but I care about people. I want people to be informed, and I want people to live as long and healthy and meaningful life as they possibly can. So, but for me, I guess it just all kind of starts with your gut, you know? So just my 2 cents on the matter. And if anything, maybe for me, like I'm trying to like cut back more on fast food these days, and just try and eat in more, like just make meals for myself and others. All righty. Anyways, I'm done rambling. I'm done yapping. I'm done being annoying. It's okay, Jordan, we get it. Like, just get back to cooking. Oop. Let that get in there. All righty then. Wondering if, well, let's do this. I need that? No, I don't. Leave that there. Leave that there so it can double in size. And I'm going to go ahead and put a timer on. Where'd oh, there's my phone. Winston, thank you so much. Serenity, thank you so much for the follow. Sharks, thank you so much for the follow. Oh dear, hang on. How far does this go? Faye Moon, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate you. Well, I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Wants to push food all the time, but it's so big. Yeah, I would definitely, if you guys want more fresh ingredients, or you guys want more organic options, I would recommend your guys' local food market, or your local, like, I'm trying to think of like, you know, the term for it. Like it's basically like it's a whole meeting where people just basically sell their fresh made produce. I would definitely look into that, and also they'll give you good prices on that. Farmers market, yeah, frick. Again, my mind isn't acting the way I want it to. So, but I appreciate you guys filling in the blanks there. Yes, they are, and also people are so chill. They're so cool, and they're all on the same page. Like where they want people to start buying more like locally organic options, and again, like you guys won't regret it. It's let's see here. I've recently started eating more fruit in my diet and making. Oh yeah, those are yummy acai bowls. Yeah. Yes, very much so. Yeah, and really people don't give credit where credit's due when it comes to like veggie prepping. I think one of the most delicious things I've cooked before is Brussels sprouts and cauliflower. Like especially when you oven bake cauliflower. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Some garlic, some olive oil, salt, pepper. It's just really, really good. Fantastic. I am so excited. Oh, I need a refill on water. Actually, if I'm being perfectly honest, I think I might need a little bit of a coffee pick-me-up. That tea is just not cutting it. I have a homemade cold brew that I like to dabble into every so often. Just checking the chat. Oh, you guys are so great. All right. Very good, very good. Awesome. All right. I have just such an occasion, or actually no, this is the perfect opportunity to share you guys with what I do with this blueberry syrup here. Let me go ahead and do this. And, oh no! Oh, that's what I was going to do. And also show off one of my favorite glasses. So this was a gift to me actually from a fellow voice actor friend of mine. I don't know if it'll show up, but check out the engraving on this if you can. Let me see here. Whoop. Hang on, I think I need to do this. It's a ratio quote along with his feather. I accept, as would any man. Usually this is my my cold brew coffee glass. Yes, this is a gift to me by my good voice acting friend, goes by the name of Ethan. And let me actually go ahead and drop him real quick, because he deserves a follow and he deserves some attention here. Yes, hang on. Yeah, Ethan Nelton, VA. You can find him on Twitter. An amazing, very talented man, and also just a good friend overall. Yes, he gave that to me, which is wonderful. But let me go ahead and fix my cold brew real quick, because I definitely need a little pick-me-up. There's just like a shot of that left, but I don't want to just simply overindulge for the sake of overindulging. And then we'll add a little bit of the blueberry syrup. We'll splash of that. Oh, that's yummy. Let me go ahead. Wait, no. No, it's fine. I thought I had a thing ready, but I guess I was wrong. Best ratio quote, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Well, that's a good question, actually. I'd say so. He definitely needs caffeine. He definitely needs something to deal with everyone else on a day-to-day. Let's see here. Oh, that's good. I love flavors, but textures wreck me. Oh. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, that's so interesting. Oh, I make my coffee from not from scratch, like, you know, but basically I typically go to like just like places like Sprouts, and I get beans, and I actually sometimes I do this, but sometimes it's just better just to kind of just grab a bag of grinds essentially. But I use my Chemex. And what I do is a bit of a visual aid. I take my coffee grinds after, whether or not I buy them whole bean or already prepped. What I do is that after I put the filter in place, I have like a culmination of ice at the bottom. So once, and I add more grinds, it's like I fill it to the brim. And this is basically how you can make cold brew with the Chemex, actually. So then once you filter the hot water through, and it collects, basically it's the ice dilutes the over brewed coffee essentially. And but that's basically how I make my own cold brew, is with the Chemex. But let me go ahead and just catch up real quick. Yeah, actually use coffee grinds. You can use it for if you guys are making gardens or have some sort of vegetable garden or even flower garden. It's great for the soil. I can imagine there's. I don't mean to equate him to American Psycho or anything like that, but yeah, I feel like he definitely would have a Bateman routine. Admiral, thank you so much for the follow. Impetrable, thank you so much for the follow. Mint, thank you so much. It's Angel, no, not Angel. Angely, thank you so much for the follow. Fantastic. Woo! I feel like I need a little sit down or something like that. Because I feel like I've kind of like reached the end of the cooking segment here, and now we're just enjoying each other's company. Woohoo! I feel like you'd have to like. I think I actually answered this question on the Ratio Dr. Ratio Discord, the official one, where it's like, do you think Dr. Ratio enjoys some fast food? And like, I feel like it's a guilty pleasure of his, but like he kind of has to be driven to the brink where he needs like, specifically he would visit a Wendy's, be like, just give me the Baconator, please. I've had a rough day, but he's like trying to be incognito about it. If he ever goes to like, if he doesn't make it himself, he has to deal with people. It's like just wouldn't be a thing where he put himself in a situation where he'd have to deal with people. But if he did go to a Dunkin' Donuts, I feel like it's just one of those things, just like nothing went the way he wanted to that morning or that day. Just like, I need coffee and I need it now. That's awesome, yeah. Yeah, it's yeah, man, it still kind of boggles my mind like how Ratio kind of came into my life. And yeah, that really is kind of a miracle story in and of itself. I think I've already, answered that question. But yeah, it still feels so surreal. And in regards to my character for Ratio, yeah, I feel like we still haven't seen everything from him, but that's all I can say about that because my lips are sealed. But I appreciate you guys tuning in and also just for the constant support, because this is still something that just doesn't, it feels like a dream that I'm going to wake up from at any point in time. But you guys have just been just so good, sweet, and kind to me, and so I do mean that from the bottom of my heart. I thank you guys. I just want to make sure I'm all caught up. Yeah, I noticed those magazines too. I think Camden has every copy of those magazines when it features Aventurine. I can neither confirm nor deny that Ratio is from that planet, but I don't know. It's definitely Greek themed. That's all I'll say. I feel like a lot of teachers, I don't know, when it comes to like the challenge of education and what teachers have to kind of deal with, because I'll be the first to admit I wasn't a great student, and of course I had a lot of setbacks and a lot of challenges that I had to face, but I very much appreciate the teachers that stuck by me, even if they weren't particularly nice. If they recognized that I was trying, and they recognized that I was legitimately trying to do my best, like they went out, like I especially appreciate the teachers that stuck with me, even if like their bedside manner isn't the term I want to use here, but basically just their social skills, like, or whether they, or lack thereof, despite all that they chose to stick with me and teach something and try and instill something with me. Like that's, in my opinion, what makes a good teacher, is not simply just giving up on a student because either they're difficult or they don't get the material or what have you. And yeah, even if, like, again, like they like Ratio, because Ratio says it how it is. He's got no filter. If he thinks you're being dumb, he'll say you're being dumb. But what I feel like I appreciate about portraying this character is the fact that at the end of the day, he cares. He wants people to be better than themselves. He wants people to be smarter and wiser. And but of course, like there's that wall of like, oh my gosh, like you should be smarter than this, but you're not, kind of a thing. So I definitely, Ratio's even grown on me, I would feel like, because starting out of the gate voicing him was a bit of a challenge. And I think I've already mentioned this story already when I did the interview for the Ratio Discord. But my director was trying to get me to be meaner. And I would always try and sneak in a little bit of charm in Ratio's dialogue, because in my mind, I'm thinking, all right, if I'm going to be insulting this person, at least I can be charming about it. And I think like it'll probably smooth it over. He's like, no, you can't be charming. Like, stop trying to make him like likable. Like, don't make him likable. People are going to like this character because he's going to say it how it is. And that was really difficult for me because it really went against my natural just personality, where I try and tend to get along with people, and I try not to be combative or confrontational. And even if I'm in a restaurant and someone makes my order wrong, I'm not gonna, it's food. I'm gonna eat it at the end of the day. I'm not picky. But here, Ratio is very, very much the opposite of that. He says it how it is. He says what's on his mind, and he doesn't apologize for it. So, but yeah, in the best ways possible as well, Ratio has very much grown on me. And this has been such a cool character, such a really cool character to be able to portray. And again, just my voice, so, but. He's like Gordon Ramsay for real. He absolutely is. Yeah. Oh, you can bet your bottom dollar that man. He meal preps. He not only does he just exercise, he eats what's right, but do not try and cook something along with him, because he will shut that down. He's like, nope, this is my kitchen. Get out. It's my way or the highway. You donut. What are you? I'm gonna get sandwich. This lamb is raw. Get out. 0 points. Oh, you guys are so welcome. Yeah. And thank you guys for enjoying the performance. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you very much. Oh, absolutely. Ratio, I think, like, has a schedule for probably everything, but what's crazy about it, like, it's all up here. Like, I feel like he just has like one of those mind palace minds, like Sherlock, which is kind of some of the groundwork that I used to create Ratio's voice, where he's just able to like recall things and keep track of things. He doesn't really need to write those things down. Granted, of course, does he need a chalkboard every so often? Yeah, he does. But for the most part, like, he's just able to recall things from memory. And but of course, that's a double-edged sword, where with great power comes great responsibility. And of course, there's like a balancing act where you can have massive intellect, but you could be like completely inept at social interaction. So with one superpower, you get like basically kind of like an equalizer when it comes to that. In the realms of storytelling, I think even like in reality as well. Just that can of mine. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like, Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. I can't remember. Is there even swearing in Honkai? I don't think there is. Yes, I loved that that whole arc too between Ratio and Aventurine. Yeah, it was like the best buddy cop kind of a thing interaction, but like I'm trying to find the right words for it. But yeah, it's my gosh, I part of me really wishes that they could accommodate more than one actor per session, because I feel like if Camden and I were in the same room, like we would have like upped the game that much more, man. But Camden, man, cheers, brother. That man was meant to play Aventurine. Hang on. Ooh. Hang on, wait. Saw something about Boot Hill. Oh, what the fork? That's true. You muddle fudging shirtbag. Yeah. You son of a nice lady. I love the fact that when it comes to Boot Hill, he wants to swear, but it's against his program. Again, because he's he's bionic. So yes, thank you guys. Be sure to thank the mods whenever you can. They're amazing and they're spectacular. But let me see here. I'm trying to think of like anything else that I'm. Oh, that's what I was going to do. I was going to put this away. But as much as it pains me to kind of call it right here, folks, I think I do need a bit of a break. So if you'll wait, hang on. There we are. So with that being said, I think I actually just might call it here. If it's all the same to you guys, thank you guys so much for tuning into the stream. And I loved today's interactions. Thank you guys again so much for all the kind and wonderful things. I hope that you will at least think about maybe potentially getting into the kitchen more and more these days. And if not, climb aboard this crazy journey as we tackle the realms of cooking together. And with that being said, last time for the first stream, I failed to raid someone else. I won't do so this time. So, yes, thank you guys so much. Let me see who else is out there that we can bug. Let me see here. Who's live? Who's live right now? Uh-oh. Hang on. Ooh! Yes! Heck yeah. Hang on. Let's do this. Let's raid... yeah, let's do that. Let's see. /raid. And hopefully I'll do this right. Underscore T. Oop. Wait, what? Oh, never mind. We'll raid someone else. Oh, wait, hang on. Hopefully I'm doing this right. All right, let's go with oh, that's weird. / raid and username. Oh, okay. Yes, so let's go with that. Channel. Does the I feel like such a dunderhead. Does the name have to be in brackets? Oh, the bread was delicious. Thank you so much. Let's see, no, you want to remove the brackets. Okay, cool. That's what I thought, but I guess maybe. Okay, let's try this. to rate it this time. I must be doing something wrong. No, just type out the name and don't put the at. Yeah, that's what I was doing, but maybe it's just not. I hope I'm doing this correctly. Yeah, that's the name, but it keeps on saying raid. Oh wait, no, raid settings do not allow you to raid at this time. Oh well, we hit a bit of a scuff in a wall here, folks. Well, at least I remembered that it's the thought that counts. So, with that being said, apologies, folks, that we didn't get a chance to rate someone else, but we'll figure that out in the future. So, without any further ado, thank you guys again so much, and I'll catch you in the next one. Have a good night.